Hello, chat. I'm back. Fuck, I dropped my bottle cap. I was chugging water. Like dehydrated. Hello, chat. How are y'all doing tonight? I hope you're doing well this fine morning. It's been a minute since I've seen you guys. So, chat. I might, knock on wood, be free from overtime for a little bit. You know what that means, chat? It means I can potentially stream more. I spent, oh god, fucking uppies. Okay, let me set this bad boy up. I've been missing hanging out with y'all a lot. And I've been spending some time, like, cleaning and shit. Pat, I did not realize how much shit I had till I had to, like, reorganize. I'm just like, why do I own so much shit? Why do I have, like, 20 bars of artisan soap? For context, way back when... I'm my desk in uppies right now, I promise. Why? Sorry, it's acting a little funny. Oh, it's because that cord was wrapped around that, that's why. Anyways, I was saying. I had... A while back, I used to go to farmers markets a lot, and I used to buy, like, soap, because I really liked nice smelling soap. I didn't realize I had, like, 20 fucking bars of soap, bro. What? Why do I have so much? At least I don't have to buy soap for a while. You know, I was thinking that back in my head, I'm like, man, I haven't needed to buy body wash or soap for a minute. Well, eventually I'll probably need to. I didn't realize how much I stockpiled, which is nice. It all smells nice. I've been using one from a company called Soap Pony, if you guys know who they are. It's a, they're like a furry brand. But they make soap and fragrance sprays and stuff like that. I think all they make now is like sprays. I don't know if they make soap still. I'm pretty sure they do. Cause they're fucking called Soap Pony, like but I have some soaps of theirs that I don't know if they make them anymore, but they have one named Dominatrix. That's the important part here, right? Shit smells nice as fuck, and I love it a lot. But they make fire soap. I bought a bunch of their soaps a while back at a con here. But yeah, so I have been doing a lot of cleaning. I don't remember what else I was gonna say. I had a whole thing planned out and it completely left my brain, chat. Do you guys like my little pyramid head? Look at him. Look at him, chat. Look at my husband. Little sword. Yeah, God, I wish that were me. I mean, if you get art, it's literally just like a fucking 2D asset. If you get a 2D asset like this, I will put it on. Dead ass. Little sword. Yeah, look at his little sword. Also, I'm glad you could catch one of my streams again, Zinka. I'm gonna again attempt to like stream more often again. It's really hard to like promise when I have shit hitting all the time. But we're vibing. But I have a fun game for you guys today. This game caught my attention because I've seen like some people play it. Like, I haven't like actually sat down and watched people play it, but I see it pop up on my timeline a lot. I've been trying to avoid watching people play because I don't want to like spoil anything. But it looks really fun. It's called No, I'm Not a Human. It's a indie horror game that recently like very much took off. So I'm very, very, very excited to play it. And, there's one more thing I was gonna tell you guys. I remember. I'll remember. But yeah. Very excited to hang out with y'all. Very excited to vibe. I do have to work, so I'm not gonna, like, do a long stream today. Oh, I hit my mic, sorry. Magnus resubscribed with Prime! Subscribe for 14 months is crazy. Hi, Magnus. Alright, let's get into the game, shall we? I think you guys will like this game. I think you guys will like it because, one, it's horror, but also because, like, it is kind of, like... It's spooky, but, like, in a... Hello, Ayaka! It's spooky, but in a, like... Who the fuck do I trust way? Does that make sense? Of course you're a mod, Ayaka, because I trust you. Behold. Honestly, okay, I need you guys to know the fucking... I like the music on the touchscreen, because it really... Not touchscreen, on the main screen, on this title screen. I like the music on this title screen, because it's very, like... It makes me feel like if I'm playing Stalker, or if I'm playing, like... Oh my fucking god, what's it called? Fuck, I can't remember the name of it, I can't remember the name! I'm sorry, Chad, It feels like post-apocalyptic and it fits. Banning everyone forever. How are you gonna ban yourself? You can't ban yourself. I'm pretty sure you can't. Please don't test that. What happens if I click these? Nothing happened? Yeah. I think this game's gonna be fun to play. Actually, we just got back from our trip. Aren't you tired of staying at home? Yeah, I remember. We went to the beach. We were laying on the beach, but it was way too hot yesterday, so we took off early. The cat!
Let me out. Let me out.
Yeah, we're getting her ready for school. She doesn't want to go, but what can you do, right? What do you mean let you out? Where are you? Oh, who the fuck? Alright, I'll drop by later tonight. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
My messages are getting screened by Twitch or something.
What? Wait, what do you mean? Hold on, let me... What do you mean? I don't see anything popping up. I don't see you restricted on my end. Oh, you've seen this game? Is it terrifying? Because I've been avoiding... Dude,
It's saying my messages are being checked by mods.
Rips one into the mic. Why? A few drunkards lay sprawled out on the street. They're lying on the cold, hard ground and appear to be... Shut up! I'm trying to look outside my window! They're lying on the cold, hard ground and appear to be fast asleep. Things are good for them right now. Whoever is knocking at my fucking door needs to, like... Can they not hear me? Suck my ass! Bro! Sometimes I wonder what it'd be like to be a, like, a drunkard who just passes out in random areas. Because it kind of looks comfy, but also looks like not comfy. Oh. Hey, neighbor. Long time no see. How's life? Fine?
Please, 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 please.
I hate Twitch so much.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Magnus. I don't know why it's doing that to you. Why are you begging for this man? For this old... You know what? That's fair. If you're into old men, who am I to stop you? Well, let me level with you. I came over for a reason. I've been getting a little worried about you.
Creeper. Oh, man.
Something real bad seems to be headed our way. I just got off the phone with my cousin. She told me the news is saying something weird is going on with the sun. And also said there are people coming up from underground. They're calling them visitors for whatever reason. Creepy stuff, huh? I sure hope it's not true. What's happening with the sun? Either it's gonna explode or something's gonna explode on it. Not totally sure. All I know is something's wrong with it. I'm sure you noticed this summer's been the hottest one ever, right? I think we need to prepare ourselves for the worst. My cousin told me that being home alone is dangerous. So I came over to make sure you don't end up hurt. Or worse. How are your wife and daughter holding up? Don't worry about my family. A good friend of mine is staying with us right now. He's looking after them while I'm here. Well, that's good. Why are you gonna explode all over the sun? Why? Great. Let's continue this conversation in the morning then. I'll see you in the kitchen when you wake up. See you in the morning. See you later, man. Okay, now can I, like, check everything in my house? We're not going there right now. I'll check during the day. Can I just not go into any of the rooms? Room Auralia 31. What's room... Hold on, let me look this up. What's room Auralia? I hope our daughter's okay, huh? Don't worry me. Oh, I got kombucha. My dog. It's adorable. I don't know anything about this game. All I know is I'm video game. Why is my bedroom so dark? Nope, I don't look that way. Not anymore. What the fuck happened that way? I hate sleeping by the nightstand. Too many bad memories. Huh? Your face bothers me, dude. Breaking news! At 6:28 a.m. today, there was a powerful emission of energy from the sun. This burst of energy was far larger than scientists had predicted. As a result, temperatures outside have reached critical levels. What? Okay, so I'm gonna be real with you, I've never really met anyone in person whose glasses actually make their eyes this big. Like, I know it's a thing because, like, look at fucking, oh my god, what's his name? What's his name from Trailer Park Boys? Bubbles? Like, I know that's possible, but I've never seen it in person. As a result, temperatures outside have reached critical levels. The government has since declared a state of emergency. We ask that viewers refrain from going outside during the day. Up next, something lighter. Despite the elegance, the dance evokes anxious thoughts. If only someone could just explain what's going on. Honestly, like, can't look out there either. Ballet makes me anxious just because of like all the, when I see it, I just see, I think of all like the pain one goes into in order to be able to do ballet. Does that make sense? Poto, pretty much the only toy I had as a kid. Well, except for the sticks we used to whack the grass. Don't get why it's not in the corner. I thought that was the rule. And again, Dad never gave a damn about rules. Dude, are you okay? Were you neglected? Honestly, I'm better off being alone. You can even talk out loud to yourself. One of those magazines where you gotta find a certain person in the crowd. Oh, it's Where's Waldo? Must be annoying. Wish people would just leave me alone already. Dude, you're not, do you dress like Waldo? Be fine. Beer Day! Today's Beer Day, chat! You know what that means! Oh, there's a dude. Huh. Grandma crammed every cabinet full of dishes. Only pulled out the fancy set for holidays. Now, who the hell needs it? Damn. So it's all true after all. Well then, everything I said makes sense. Don't go outside during the day. You have to remember to let other people in. Why would I let strangers into my house? I know you prefer to keep your distance from people, but you have to. My cousin doesn't know for sure why we can't just bunker down by ourselves. She mentioned that if anyone comes and asks if you're alone, say no, and tell them someone's in the house with you. Why do I need to have other people with me? The people you let inside might bring something useful or share some interesting information. Just don't forget to test them for signs of being a visitor. You won't have much energy during the day with this heat. So choose who you want to test carefully. You'll have to take a real close look. It's strenuous, draining work. But don't worry about chatting with people. That won't pick up any energy, so talk as much as you'd like. And be sure to look out your windows. TV's great and all, but there's no better source of info than your own two eyes. What do we need to do? I'm afraid all we can do now is try to survive. And hope this nightmare ends soon. I'm sure the government will help us somehow. Maybe they'll lead everyone to shelter or something like that. If they do, stick together with me and my family. Alright, that's it for me. Oh, right, almost forgot. I'm heading back home tomorrow night. Write down my number, they just set up the line over there. 85909... 859089. We'll keep in touch on the phone. Okay, now that's really it. Crack a beer and get some sleep. That's nice. Why does my fridge have a bug in it? I hate that. I'm afraid looking out right now would make me go blind. I better take a peek at night. I can only look out at night? Looks like someone's hiding here, and I don't like that. He said back then, when I'm gone, you decide if you want to open that box or not. Been deciding for 15 years, still can't make up my mind. The number will be important? Dude, I don't even remember it already. Fuck! What was it again? Oh, it's up here. Okay, there we go. Then they sealed it up, but only on one side. Oh, okay. Window to another room. People used to do that to save electricity, so the light from one room spills into the other. Then they sealed it up, but only on one side. Okay, so I need to go consume alcohol, he said. I guess it's beer day. That beer sure made me sleepy. I should go to bed. Hi, Scarlet. Oh, someone's knocking at my door. Bro, why do you look like that? Hi! Is my daddy here? Can you get him for me? I was okay before, but I'm really scared now. There are lots of strange people out here tonight. What's your dad's name? Wait. Oh, this is a fucking test. Which one do I Dad. Dad, which one do I select? Dad, what should we ask her? We should ask her this? Know something about her dad? Wait, no, that's... Can you guys pick? There's a tie! No child will know their dad's actual name. You know what? That's fair. You might be onto something there. Fucking you choose. I'm asking you guys! Bro. Come on, chat, please. Okay, we'll choose something.
I'm still in the Phantom Zone. Sorry.
I'm so sorry, Magnus. I don't know why you're in the Phantom Zone. Bro, that little girl looks like a depressed Hot Topic employee. Why are you bullying her? Tell me something about your dad. I know a lot about him. He's my daddy, after all. I know that he likes to drink a little beer before he goes out. When he does go out, he always leaves me yummy lunch and dinner. And juice! But today I tried some of that beer stuff. Blech, it was so gross. Why would anyone drink that when they could just have juice? Oh, please don't tell him I did that. Wanna know something funny, chat? When I was younger, right? When I was a wee egg. My dad, when he wasn't, why is that little girl on the fuck? Shit, that was crazy. Leave her alone. Kid valid though. Okay, so the thing I was gonna tell you guys, when I was younger, and my dad wasn't in jail, right? Just like the brief time he was not in prison. He had a bunch of his monsters in a, you know how like your fridge has like the shelves? Do you know what I'm talking about? So, like, he had the bottom shelf entirely full of energy drinks, like Monster energy drinks, because he drank Monster. And this is when I tried one. Because I was a kid, I'm like, oh, what's this stuff? I fucking hated it, bro. I hated the taste as a child. I was like, what is this? This is garbage. What the fuck? I thought it was bad at first. I was like, what? Why does it taste like that? I hate this. Still punching the air that I can't give you my prime sub. That's crazy. Just come over here and hand it to me manually. Anyways, I was saying, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's funny because my dad, he figured out, he realized one of his cans was missing. I'm pretty sure either either he figured it out or my brother told him, or he somehow found out, right? And he was like, why would you drink that? Like, never drink that again. Like, don't drink those. They're not good for you, right? XYZ. And it's funny because then later on, my family found these peach flavored and like energy drinks. They were supposed to be like healthy energy drinks. I don't know what they were. I don't remember what they were to this day. I just remember they were like peach. I think with a hint of like maybe a little mango, but not really. They're peach. They were like a pinkish orange color, and they were delicious. And I went through them so fast as a child, and that's how I got exposed to energy drinks. Well, I don't know if those were really energy drinks, because then later on in my life, I had a Rockstar for the first time, and it made my chest feel funny. I was like, ooh, I like this feeling. And then I really got hooked on energy drinks at that point. But that was when I was I think like a freshman or sophomore in high school. Anyway. How'd you get here in one piece? I don't know. Everything feels like it's opposite day now. People stay at home and sleep during the day, then go out and do stuff at night. I'm still scared of the dark, but maybe there's nothing to be afraid of. Or is there? I used to think Capri Suns was GOAT as a team, but I tried one last week, and my body took a screenshot. What do you mean your body took a screenshot over a Capri Sun? I'll get your dad for you. Good luck. Thanks, you too. I want to go home. It's scary out here. We're gonna play a new game Daddy made up for me. You have to roll dice. And then you move stuff around like the armchair or the couch. You have to build a big pile near the door to win. I'll show you how to play another time. Bye. Oh, that is his... Okay, good. That is his kid. Hmm? Why are you so tall, dude? I can't even see your face. Chat, I don't know how to feel about this man. Can I come in? I was taking shelter at a bar down the road, but they kicked me out. Just like that. Why? I guess not everyone there found my personality particularly palatable. Why are you talking in alliteration, dude? But I don't mean anyone any harm, don't worry. Life is shitty sometimes, you know? Your chest was tingling? Did your chest grow as a growth potion? Dude, I wish energy drink... I was about to say I wish energy drinks made my tits grow, but then I realized that might be not the best thing to say, because I already have, like, these. I think they're becoming, like, double these at this point. I have to go buy new bras again, bro. I hate it here. Drink water. Suck my ass. I will drink water. I'm not intimidated by his height. I just think his proportions are funky, okay?
Hold on.
Oh my god, we have bear number 2 here.
Why am I bear number 2?
Isn't that what the...
I'm not even Italian to you anymore, is that it? I'm not even Italian anymore.
You're just a fucking... You're just a FNAF. You're FNAF again.
Oh, right, I'm still bear 5.
Bear 5, that's what I meant.
Aren't I?
Yeah, you're bear 5.
Hold on, I can find something.
I have to buy new bras again. Oh no, my steak is too juicy. My lobster too buttery. You guys can say that, but listen here, alright? I'm the one who has to deal with the back pain. I don't see any of y'all over here holding my tits for me. You keep saying, your tits look heavy. Let me hold them for you. Where are you then? Where
You're on
are
the
you?
other side of the country. I'd love to.
He got the proportions of the food group pyramid from school. That's why I'm nervous about him. I'll hold him when I get there. I'm holding the back line, ass. Gotta buy a forklift for the massive bazongas. Are you forklift certified? Had a skill issue in my back. What? Ika, respectfully, if you're fine with answering this question, how big are your tits? I can testify the girls are heavy. It hurty. My back hurty, bro. Cat's over here being like, let me hold them for you. Where are you? I am technically certified to operate heavy machinery, yes. I am forklift certified. Hell yeah! Can we get some forklift certifications in the chat? I'm literally the You know that's fair save, you are. I don't mean anyone any harm, don't worry. Life is shitty sometimes, you know? So, what do you say, my good man? Can I come in? Next emo needs to be a forklift, but I'm not forklift certified yet. What do you mean your hairline certified? Is that why you're poly, so they can take turns and not be tired? Yes, that's exactly why I'm poly. So my partners can, like, can take turns holding my tits.
I'll do a picture of my dog.
I'm the reason they're big. You better start buying me fucking bras, then. It's okay, I didn't mind your picture before, Angelo. I just thought it was funny. Oh, merry man! And then Chat comes from the bushes to perform Booba holding duty. We need to straw. I gotta check my wardrobe. I'm pretty sure I got one where I didn't cut off the tag. Well, that's an answer to a question. Yeah. Motherfucker, I'm not buying for your triple G's. They're not triple G's! They are 40 D's!
There we go, dog now. Dog moment.
What do you mean G? Triple G, head ass!
Got him. Fucking got him.
Why? Hold on.
No, you're not doing shit.
But why won't they let me pin your message? How do I pin you?
Oh, I can
Pin them. Pin that message.
reword that. You might want to reword that.
Never.
There we go. I pinned it.
I said that same joke person. Yeah, if you say that joke to me in person, I'm jumping you. It's on site at that point.
Good to know. Good to know for when I meet you. Make a D's nuts joke.
You're getting jumped.
Okay. I don't care. I'm in that.
You want to pin me? Damn, buy me spaghetti first. I have Angelo here. I'll just have him make it.
Dude, I can make spaghetti. I fucking love spaghetti.
Okay, chat. We're gonna vote. Wait, hold on. You sure you won't make any trouble? What do you consider trouble? Murder and violence disgust me to my core, but I won't suffer the trespasses of others either. I like good food and drink. I enjoy chow when I'm in the mood. Does that sound like trouble to you? Your name is Angelo. No shit, you love spaghetti.
Yeah, kind of in the name. And my brand on this channel.
Why did it kick you out of your previous shelter? I considered saying something rude just now, but thought better of it. Told you already, someone there didn't like me. God knows who it was. Oh yeah, he did. I'm a little stupid. Now that I think about it, maybe it's a good thing they tossed me out. They could have eaten me alive back there, and no one would have fucking noticed. Okay, chat, are we gonna let this man in the house? Yes or no? Wait, you're gonna have the Italian mixed spaghetti? It's not! It's not! It's because he says he makes good pasta. I trust him to make the pasta.
I cook it al dente. Most people don't. They just make it limp. You gotta cook it al dente.
Angela, if I ever meet you in person, you need to teach me how to make pasta. That's the first thing we're doing. We have
It should say right on the box, al dente in blank.
Okay, but I'm stupid.
If you can't time?
Let him in. I doubt the very first person is a visitor, just as a tutorial. Does the girl not count as the first person? Angela's saying he makes good pasta, you trusting it. I trust him! He's never led me astray once! They come in.
Okay, this doesn't help my case, but I definitely have.
Yeah,
I definitely have.
Like me saying I make good chick. Well, I know. Okay, no, I can't say that. That's mean.
What?
I was gonna say, you don't let her in, so no, just dialogue things. Okay, that's fair. I was gonna say I know that Everno makes good food because he would make me it all the time. Because I wouldn't eat, and then he would like he wouldn't actually friend to be me, but he would be like, eat your fucking food. You've been streaming for 8 hours, and I'd be like, Lamau. Fun fact, the company that sells pasta in the blue box has a Spotify where they have playlists for their pastas that contain songs that'll end when the pasta is fully ready. What?
Yeah. I don't use them because I just count.
You just can't. I want to use those. That sounds fun. It's elbow macaroni a pasta. That's a question for you, local Italian.
Elbow pasta? I only really have elbow pasta for like mac and cheese.
You know, we'll trust the tall man. Thank you. Trust in people doesn't amount to a hill of beans these days. What does that mean? But I appreciate your trust in me. Perhaps I even... Well, no, I shouldn't promise anything. Okay, we got one dude. He's chill. Who's knocking? Ma'am, why are you leaning to the side like that? What's wrong? Are you good? Hello? Sorry to bother you so late. It was just so hot out today, and the TV said we shouldn't go out in the sun. So, could you maybe find some space for me? Chat, how are we feeling about her vibes? How are we feeling about her vibes?
I don't know. Although, to be fair, most of the people in this game look a little bit fucked up. So, I don't know.
Egg saved me from another week of SET. That's crazy, bro. We haven't had that at all. She looks like she's in the middle of doing the Michael Jackson Thriller dance.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it reminds me of something, but I don't know what.
It reminds you of the Thriller dance? Can we make her do the dance? Do we know if we trust her? Is that an option?
If she does it, is it good or not? I don't know what your thought process is for that. Huh?
Wait, what?
If she does, you said, let's make her do the dance, so we know if we trust
the Thriller
her.
dance.
If she does it, is it good or not? If she does it,
because I don't think a visitor could do the Thriller dance. I don't know. That was my logic. NCT, what's that? We've been VTO. No, I saw they dropped VTO and I almost took it for tomorrow, but then it got full already. And I was like, I should go in anyway for money. We went from having like a backlog of 5 days to like less than a day. I want her to perform a triple somersault. I don't think she can do that, bro.
I'd say most people can't even do that.
Yeah, we just went from having having a big backlog to Lamau VTO, and then I can't wait for NP Kids. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be peachy. How'd you end up here? It's not like I wanted to come out here. The asphalt may be melting into goo under our feet, but it could be worse. It's just, well, you're gonna laugh. Visitors came to my house. Can you believe it? They chased me out of my own home. But now I'm just trying to find a place to hide from the sun. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. I don't trust chat. I don't trust that for one reason only. If these visitors are so dangerous that if you let them in your house, they're gonna fucking kill you, I'm assuming. How the fuck? They would not have let her leave. They would not have let her leave. No. I don't trust that, bro. They would not have let you escape. They would have killed you on sight if they knew you were running away. It's okay, Illumitium. What do you think will happen? I don't know. Will I survive? Who will help me? How much time do I have to look for help? I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, I couldn't even guess. Doesn't all of this scare you? It terrifies me. No, I don't. I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah, the murder almost killed me, but I ran away. I don't trust that shit, bro. I don't trust that. Wait, Frosty Tools, what the fuck? Don't let egg stream start times become scheduled extra time for you? How would that happen? What are you implying, Frosty Tools? Yeah, I don't trust her. You should leave. Okay, I get it. Thanks for hearing me out anyway. Okay. Clearly I should go then. Bye? Yeah, bye. Yeah, I didn't trust you, bitch. Who? Who are you? Hold on, I kind of like your fit.
Let you in because I like the fit.
Well, like, look, she kind of has a fire fit going on, bro. Like, like, look at her.
Hold on. I need to wait for Twitch to catch up. Let me see.
Vampire Hunter looking ass? Oh
Uh,
my god, is that Prada? Yeah, like I kind of like her fit. I like the fit she's got going on. What? Anyway, I gotta figure out how sides are converted to American measurements. Why are your numbers incorrect? I don't know, bro. I'm not the one who made them.
and made every number.
Does the fit come in lavender? I don't think it would be lighter than that. I will try to stream so you can survive work. I promise. Who joined?
Hello.
Me joined.
I
Hello,
say.
Dave.
Hi, me.
Hi, me.
Yes.
Hello, save.
Hello.
Alright, I'm gonna keep going with this game. Hello. The heat doesn't bother me. I'm just looking for a quiet place to rest. Why are you stuttering like you're cold? Maybe we have similar schedules. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I work Sunday to Wednesday. I don't know what your, like, full schedule is. Looking for a quiet place? Quiet place mention? I actually haven't seen A Quiet Place yet.
Is that a movie?
Hmm?
Is that a movie?
Could I stop talking for a second? There, now you have.
Fuck you! That's
Okay.
bullshit! You
You
fucking little motherfucker. Good one saved. Whoa. Looking at my normal schedule. Oh, okay. Yeah, we haven't had like Sunday to Wednesday 2 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. See, I kind of want your schedule. I like your schedule. Cuz mine's at 6 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. Also, excuse me chat, my tummy is grumbling from me eating chicken nuggets right before stream. My stomach hurts. I'll be back.
Nuggets, huh?
What is the deal with airline food?
I don't know.
It's like I get it.
That is the burning question of the decade.
It's everybody's asking it. What is the deal with
Everybody.
airline food? I mean, it's food, but it's in the air. I mean, what is this?
I mean, what are we doing here, folks?
What are we doing here? Putting food on planes, and next we're gonna start putting clothes on them. You're gonna feed it. We're gonna do a little bit of Aeromorph 4.
All right, now you're going too far, bud. Try again.
Hi, China, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Anyway, what I miss? What do you mean good one save? Wait, what did save say when I was gone?
No, that was
No,
that was
nothing.
in regards to the Quiet Place joke.
Oh. Thank you for the bit, Illumitium. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna shove this in my mouth and Airline food has stuff in it so wait, hold on. Airline food has stuff in it so you don't poop. That's a bullshit lie. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now, chat. On one of my flights, I think it was like the flight for work, I made a mistake. Well, not made a mistake. Well, I ate food before the flight, and then I ate food on the flight, like the food that they had on the flight. Went to sleep. I woke up. My stomach was fucking gurgling a lot, and I was like, "Oh no, oh fuck, I'm in the air right now." And there was like a line at both bathrooms. Had to wait for the line to go down. And I'm also like up against the window, so like, and I don't wanna, and the guy who's sitting, and there was the guy who was sitting to my right, is like a dude with a cane, like an older dude with a cane, who was like struggling to like kind of walk earlier and get up earlier. And I was like, damn, I really don't want to ask him to move so I can go shit. I really don't, I would feel so bad. Thankfully, I was able to like step, like, we're like, I was like getting up, and he was like, oh, you need to use the restroom. And he gets up, and he's like, you know, doing his grunts and stuff. I'm like, man, I feel so bad making this poor old dude stand up. Even though I was gonna just like step, like I was just gonna use my long legs to like try to step over where he wouldn't have to get up. Anyway, I had to go to the restroom and start fighting for my life for like a solid 20 minutes in the plane bathroom. No, and martinis don't inherently have stuff in them that don't let you poop, but does do that because of how the food is. It's just like something that happens, and the gum is caffeine, so technically laxative. Caffeine gum sounds like it'd be nice for work, though. It is, and it really do make you poop. Okay, I've actually had, like, NeuroGum from, like, a coworker. That shit's kind. I also had it when I was, like, after that same flight, I had bought some to see if it works. It was kind of nice. I kind of want to buy some. But anyway, fuck. Video game. Heat doesn't bother me. I'm just looking for a quiet place to rest. That's crazy, dude, because the heat's bothering everyone else. Might I find some peace in your home? Why are you stuttering? Are you nervous, or are you...
I think she's just cold.
How is she cold?
It's obviously cold.
Bitch, I don't trust that. What do you mean caffeine dip pouches? Caffeine dip pouches are crazy. I don't know what's in the gum, but if it affects you normally or not, it's a universal experience that they just empty everything. NeuroGum is kind of fire. On phone before, and I thought you were praying, but I see it's a pyramid head. Yeah, it's a little guy. Look at him. Little pyramid head. Isn't he cute, chat?
Just a little guy.
Just a little fella. Okay, how long have you been looking? Wait, I thought Zen only made nicotine, not caffeine, huh? Why is she quiet? I've never once found peace. So, a long time. The heat doesn't bother you? I'm always cold. Others burn in the sun. I wrap myself in layers but still feel on the verge of freezing. I think that feels like you have cold chills. If you have cold chills, I don't want to let you in here and get my people sick, bro. I'm afraid to take any layers off. What if it gets worse, and there's no death to ease the suffering? I don't trust you. I understand. Goodbye, then. I can see your hands are stained with gunpowder. Would you shoot me? What the fuck? Right. I'm sure you don't want to waste the bullets. Goodbye. That was weird. I didn't like that. There's a deathly silence outside. There's no one there. Even the drunks have decided not to go out. Are they afraid of something? I think there's only one person in my house right now. See a few teenagers hanging out in the yard. They're sitting around without a care in the world, chatting about something. They pay you no mind. Bet. Okay. Yeah, the only one I got is tall guy. I'll say hi to him in the morning. Let's save. Here's a game to save persists even after your current playthrough ends. Favorite drink. Makes me feel good, clears my head, reminds me of better times. Okay, we'll save. Good afternoon. Here's the news. The sun's activity rises steadily as crime levels also reach a new high. According to recent data, the number of murders over the last few nights has surpassed average figures. Gee, I wonder why. Experts suspect this is related to society's ever-growing anxiety surrounding the visitors. And now, over to... just a moment. Our studio has received an urgent transmission regarding contact with a phenomenon we are calling the visitors. Eyewitness accounts describe them as creatures that can imitate the appearance and behavior of humans. Avoid contact at all costs. In one case, a visitor was able to be identified with one telltale sign. Perfect white teeth. The reports seem to back this up. Sources say they encountered an unhoused person with perfect white teeth who later turned out to be a visitor. That's all for now. Stay calm and don't leave the house during the day. Up next, more weather updates, but first, a message from our sponsors. It's me, I'm the sponsor! Buying groceries used to mean trudging down to the store, but with 4Rest, you can get everything you need just by picking up the phone. Just call 616-202 and your groceries will be at your door within 1 day. 4Rest, delicious relaxation right at home. That's crazy that y'all are doing that. You know what? Fuck it. At least I know during Apocalypse I can get my shit easy. Oh, there's a tall guy. We didn't kill me, so I trust him. Yes? Was there something you wanted? Why'd they throw you out of the bar? I blame the chain of catastrophes that broke at everyone's minds. The sun's teetering on the brink of explosion, the arrival of the visitors, the economic crisis, and so on and so forth. It fucked us all up. Some crumbled under the stress. Some dove headfirst into the bottle. But me? Well, it was rage that drove me mad. I snapped, climbed onto the bar and screamed, "Stop fucking blaming everything but yourselves. Let them weep, I say. Tears in the beer foam don't ruin the pint. Malt and hops taste better with salt." Nobody appreciates this, so why bother? Looks like conversation's over. Dang, I kind of feel bad for this guy, but he's pretty chill. I don't have... I need to check myself. I need to check my teeth. Shit. White. Smokers would kill for these. So am I a visitor? Can I order from 4Rest? Hello, you've reached 4Rest Food Delivery. Would you like to place an order? Yeah, let's get some goodies. 2 cans of Energeca, please. Thank you, your order has been accepted. Please expect your delivery tomorrow night. Yeah, I'll go test the guy. Can I check your teeth? What do you want to check? Teeth. You want me to show you my teeth? Okay, take a look. Can't get that odor of sadness and smoke. Pretty yellow, right? So piss off with your tests. I'm not a visitor. Okay, I trust him. Honestly, he kind of seems too much of an asshole to be a visitor to BH. I would assume a visitor would want you to like them. It would appeal to you. You know? Let's see who's here. Hi, 4Rest Delivery here. Didn't think deliveries were still running. You know, I didn't expect people to skip stocking up before the end of the world. Apocalypse or not, guess folks still gotta eat lunch. Deliveries might pay pretty well right now, but the risk is huge no matter how you slice it. This damn sun. They moved us to night shifts because of it. Now people order 20 liters of water at a time. Wish you got hazard pay or tips for lugging that heavy stuff around. Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. Ready to accept this delivery? Yes. Here you go, Energeca. Have a good day. Oh, I mean night. Still not used to that. We got a delivery. Who the fuck are you? A man as pale as death itself is standing on the footpath. There are strange folds in his skin. It's as though his flesh is the wrong size for his body. You can't see his eyes from here, but you can feel his gaze boring into you. You suddenly feel a sense of deep fear and pray that the terrifying visitor passes by your house. I'm getting the fuck away from that window, dude. I don't know. No. I don't like that. The bodies of the teenagers are lying on the ground. Someone killed them. It appears to have happened recently. The blood still hasn't dried. Gee, I wonder who? Gee, I wonder who? Who is this? Who's this lumberjack looking fella? Dude, you know there's like a fucking monster literally around the corner, right? Right? You know that, right? It has to be the window guy, has to be. No, he doesn't look like that, dude. At least it doesn't look like that to me. No, I mean, window guy killed the kids. Oh yeah, 100%. I'm pretty sure it's him. Pretty sure, 100%. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying this guy is that. I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure those kids got killed by the fucking whatever the fuck that thing was we were looking at. You know what I mean? Hey kid, how are things holding up around your neck of the woods? I ain't from around here. Never been one to stay in one spot for too long. But I can't roam around like I used to no more. Age will do that to you, son. Why are you traveling? You seen what these visitors are doing? House after house, someone dead, someone torn apart. They pretend to be one of us to slip inside our homes and all hell breaks loose. Barmen need to be wiped out, every last one. Where's your weapon then? I had a rifle. It damn near got me killed. They waited till I passed out, snatched it while I was sleeping. Alright, actual sleep time at sunrise. Sleep well. I hightailed it out of there, and you bet your ass they fired. Barman idea of fun. Nothing human about them except the skin they wear, kid. Okay, I don't trust this guy for the same reason I don't trust that girl. That original girl, right? You're telling me you got away from them and they didn't kill you? Like... yeah, they just took... they didn't, like... yeah, I don't trust him, bro. Hell, maybe that's for the best. Might be one of them yourself. Slit my damn throat before morning. I swear, I'll leave no varmint standing. Just you watch, kid. Yeah, well, I'm the one with the shotgun here, buddy. Ooh. Hi. Hello? Anyone alive in there? Mind letting me in? Don't bang on my door, dude. Hey now, no hard feelings. Didn't mean to wake ya. Ain't been sleeping a wink myself. Used to be a grave digger, you know? Not that there's much point in it now. Graves don't mean nothing no more. People just keel over and rot where they fall. Did he not see the fucking monster thing? Did you see something out there? Sure did, damn it. I was digging a grave, once some fellow ordered. He's standing there, watching me work. I was digging and then, bam, double hit something. Thought it was a rock, but no, a hand reached up out of the soil. There was a visitor crawling up out of the ground. And that guy, he just laughed. I ran like hell and didn't look back. Didn't dare go home, figured it's safer in the crowd. Dude, what do you... Yeah, he's making me nervous. You think he's fine? Yeah, so I think visitors are undead. I don't know, man. See, like, the other guys I felt secure because their stories didn't make sense. And his kind of doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, what do you mean you're able to run away? Especially when you're digging something for a guy. Dave, what do you think? Do you think we should let...
Yeah, I think we should let him in.
You trust him?
Why not?
I trust him.
Okay, fuck it. Thanks. Just be quick with that door, alright? I'm terrified those visitors might be right behind me. If he kills me, I'm gonna be pissed. Who is this guy? He's wearing a shirt that says Amogus!
You should definitely let him in.
No!
He's got the Amogus drip. You're saying you wouldn't let him in?
No, I would not.
Weirdo.
Why is he wearing a shirt that says Amogus?
Like you wouldn't?
I don't like the way he's looking at me, dude. Weird ass motherfucker. I'm sorry, I just don't trust that. Check your window. I can't. I'm talking to this. Yeah, I can't back out of it. Yo, you been seeing all the shit going on? Fucking crazy. You holding up okay in there, bro? What's been going on exactly? I'm here to offer you new possibilities, bro. Respect the vision. Everyone's running around like chicken-ass bitches instead of doing what comes pure and natural. They all just need to be happy is what I'm saying. For real. Why are you here? Right down to business. I like that. I like that. Everyone thinks you're up to something in here, bringing in all these people, stirring some shit up. So I say let's roll with that and host a party to end all parties. End of the fucking World of Palooza, bro.
For real?
Dad, how do we feel about how do we feel about this man?
You have to let him in, or do whatever he says.
You don't trust him? You don't trust him?
He's hosting the ultimate party, though.
You
You really want to be left out?
But then he's gonna drink all my fucking like beer. You don't want. I simply do not trust him because of the shirt. Because he's wearing a shirt that says Amogus.
Would a visitor wear an Amogus shirt?
Yes. Because they know someone is stupid.
I don't know.
I'm just saying
calling me
if
stupid?
I'm just saying if I was a visitor, right? If I was a visitor. Also, yeah, why is there a line on his neck? That's a good question. I'm just saying if I was a visitor, I would make myself look like Germa just to see like who falls for it. I'm not saying he looks like Germa. Germa has more hair than that.
I am Germa. I am Germa. I am Germa.
Why is there a line on his
Even
neck?
I am Germa.
I trust him. You would trust him? Bro got his head chopped or put on someone else's skin. Yeah, his face is also a different color than the rest of his body, dude. I don't like that. Nah, I don't trust him. Sorry, Chief. Oh, I see. You're a fucking moron. I didn't realize that at first. My bad. I'll just go see if your neighbor's more receptive to my genius. I hope he shoots you. See you in hell, shrimp dick. Please suck my ass.
What if you leave? What if you leave and you just hear a gunshot go off?
That'd be so funny. I can't call my neighbor.
Tell him, hey, there's a visitor outside. Don't fucking fall for him.
I'm pretty sure my neighbor's not gonna trust him anyway. My neighbor seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Good afternoon. Here's the news. The anomalous heat is continuing to rise, and the invasion of the visitors has shown no signs of slowing. As such, the government has founded a new organization to address the emerging situation, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, abbreviated as FEMA. FEMA employees can be identified by their yellow hazmat suits and gas masks. Merely days since their founding, the agency has already discovered a new way to identify visitors. Dirt under the fingernails. Scientists say that this sign helps identify visitors who have crawled out from under the ground. Okay, that lines up with what the Gravedigger was saying. That's all for now. Stay calm and don't leave the house during the day. Next up, a crisis report regarding a pale maniac. But first, some ads. Turmoil, terror, and suffering, and all because of the visitors. When our hour of need, just our cries were about to be left unanswered, FEMA has come to our aid. These brave heroes from the Federal Emergency Management Agency are protecting us from the visitor invasion. So far, the agency has identified over 27,000 dangerous anomalies. How? Remember, you can help the agency by informing them about any suspicious activity around you. To do so, just hand suspects a notice slip to have them visit FEMA. If you ever start to wonder whether you might be a visitor, call our hotline on 000-451. Help us help you. Support FEMA and join the fight against the visitors. Why would I tell you if I'm a visitor, dude? There's the Gravedigger guy. Wish some visitors would just go back underground. Why'd you become a Gravedigger? Huh? Oh, my job? Yeah, I don't know, actually. Cemetery is kind of like a library, you know? But these books aren't for reading. They just lie there. Quiet. I used to know every grave, who's where, how their arms were folded, what suit they had on, their names. Then one day I'm digging a fresh hole, right? Normal day, nothing weird. Feels deep enough, and then, bam, empty. Empty, I tell ya. Paper says someone should have been down there. Some guy, dead for sure. I remember he had a mustache, but poof, gone like dew in the morning. But dead man disappears, is that like dying all over again? Okay, he's chill. Go check on our other friend. Okay, he's still here. Yes, was there something you wanted? Are things any better here? I don't bother anyone anymore. It's not worth it. But then when I hear voices on the TV or overhear conversations, a light flicks on inside my mind. Then I stop myself. It's too much work for no gratification. No, I'm done. These nerves of mine are already shot to hell and back. Life was dreary enough before all this, and now? One day I'll hang from the chandelier over the whole baptized world. Okay, oh, dude, don't say it. I trust you. You're cool. I think you're cool. Where is kitchen? Because I want to try that stuff I bought. Pure chemicals, but why not drink it if you need to stay up? I'm guessing this gives me back energy. We're gonna go check the tube. I'm gonna check him. I'm gonna check his mouth. Fine, go on, check. Wide open, turned inside out long ago. When you dig too deep, sometimes you don't just find bones. Okay, he's got fucked up teeth. These white ones are mine, fair and square. Those shiny ones, well, let's just say I found them. Did you steal teeth from dead people?
They're not gonna use them.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Would have been wasted down there anyway.
That's a
but
free
look,
gold tooth.
ta-da, they came in handy. That is insane. I'll check your hands. Where did it even come from? Fingernails caked with dirt are a sign? They could just wash their hands. Saying a gardener would automatically become a visitor then? Fucking nonsense. Check my nails. Well, am I a visitor? Don't think so. Okay, so I trust this guy as like... I trust this man a lot. Yeah, bro does make good points. Oh, hold on, before we sleep. Oh, let's check on our neighbor. Hey, neighbor. You saw what happened out there? Those teenagers got killed. I thought the streets weren't that dangerous. Guess I was wrong. My daughter talked me into going off to play again. It didn't seem too bad until I saw the bodies. That's the last time I risked her life like that. God, I'll never forgive myself if something happens to her. She's my whole world. Is your daughter okay? I don't know. With all those weeds, I was hoping she didn't notice. But back at home, she said she saw a face in the grass. I'm trying to convince her it was her imagination, but not really biting. Who killed him? It was that pale, tall thing. I thought it only killed people who stayed inside. Thought I had it under control. Figured if I ever saw that silhouette, we'd head straight back home. I didn't think about what else she might see. Thanks. You take care, too. I know I think it's talking about that fucking thing we saw, bro. I'm sorry, we can't accept your order right now. You already have a delivery logged in our system. Due to unexpected demand, we have been forced to temporarily limit the number of orders that can be placed per day. If you'd still like to place an order, please try calling again at another time. Thank you. Bruh, fuck. Gotta wait. You're in the queue? Hold on. Acquired.
We love casting spells.
That took me the fuck out. Your thing took me out. Okay, putting myself. I'm having my character eat. Time to go see who's here. Before I do, let me check my window. Charred husks of the teenagers' bodies are lying on the ground. It looks like they've been there all day. Two female employees are standing next to the bodies and writing something down. Good thing they showed up to take away the corpses. Wait to think what kind of diseases could spread its decaying flesh was left to rot out there.
How nice of them.
I don't trust that shit, bro. There's a small group of female employees standing by our neighbor's house. I wonder what they're talking about. Maybe they're taking soil samples? Or looking for somewhere to set up a base.
Also, like, what if one of the visitors kills one of the FEMA guys and starts wearing their stuff?
Why you gotta say shit like that, bro? Hold on. You see a group of armed soldiers through the window. Apparently it's a small squad that was sent here from the city to provide security for female employees. Here are some fragments of information about a pale man with a bare torso. Maybe they want to track down that creepy visitor? Hopefully they track him down, dude. Oh! Why are you- Go away! I don't like you!
Hi, sir.
I don't like
Hey,
you.
Squidward.
I don't like you. I don't
Howdy.
like you. Why are you striking the fucking Blood Meridian pose? I don't like you.
You shouldn't.
That's the tiniest little red pyramid head. Little red pyramid ever. Yeah, it's a little pyramid head. I don't trust this bitch. Howdy. What do you want? Spacious house you got yourself here. I like it. I don't need anything from you. No, you don't. So, you alone? I don't like the face you're making. No, I'm not alone. Fuck off. It's your lucky day. I can hear someone whispering inside. But who knows where they'll be in a few days? Who the fuck? No. Oh, who the- Hello? Why is your mouth- What the fuck? His eyebrows arch in distress. He mumbles again, but you can't make out anything he's saying. Did someone sew your mouth shut? He mumbles something while waving his arms. You can't be sure, but his cheeks seem wet with tears. Guys! Guys, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about this?
Yeah? Question mark emoji.
Sure.
Is your house.
Fuck it. He nods and steps inside. Welcome in, dude. Who are you? So, we meet again. I remember things were a bit different last time we crossed paths, yet we remain alive. It's a strange thing. I don't know how to explain it. I'd like to start our conversation with a divination. Tell my fortune by choosing a page in this book. Where should I open it to?
Oh yes, this guy.
Somewhere towards the just open it right in the middle, open at the end. I want to see what the middle option is. Who are you? Me? I am I. You were home. Yes, a tragic story indeed. Is this what awaits us? Quite possible. What does it mean? I need to think it through carefully. Do you have any insights to offer? Probably means like feeling safe around people once and not being able to anymore cause and shit. I don't know. Anyway, I only came here to tell you something. Events will soon begin to unfold. You need to be ready. It may sound strange, but the cat must enter. I cannot yet explain how, yet I am certain it will help you. You can choose what you do with this information, of course. As for me, I think I'll go have a ponder on the deeper meaning of your divination.
Let the cat in, bro.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't trust that.
Is no one else coming?
No, put myself to sleep. Oh, hey, I got more energy than usual. Good afternoon, here's the news. FEMA has taken new measures to address the ongoing visitor invasion. As of now, they have organized quarantine zones to detain potentially dangerous suspects. FEMA has also identified a new visitor sign after experimenting with those detained. Blood red eyes. According to reports, FEMA discovered this sign after observing detained visitors. Here's the news. This is docking. What do you mean? Hello? What do you mean by that?
Nothing.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Certified doc. That doesn't answer my question, bro.
What does it
It
mean to be truly alive?
I don't know, dude. Don't ask me.
I don't fucking know. I'm not a philosopher or whatever, but
Noting the creatures have increased photosensitivity, causing their eyes to become inflamed and red. That's all for now. Stay calm and don't leave the house during the day. Next up, a report on FEMA. But first, a word from our sponsors. Once upon a time, two brothers lived near a dam. The daily splashing of water made the river foam like a crisp beverage on a summer day. Later in life, the image of their childhood in mind, the two brothers started Bobber Brewery together. Since then, Bobber Cerny has become one of the best-selling beers both at home and in bars. Bobber Cerny beer. Drink the good stuff. Drink a lot. Now available through 4Best Food Delivery. Call now 616-202.
Yay.
Hi, Spectral. Okay, so we
Every
have...
time I see that picture, I get the like, we got this. Totally. Wink.
I could have used a radio?
Radio?
Oh,
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh no. That's kind of fun.
There we go.
Oh.
They will be scared of the truth of Israel's the darker side of the respected employee. Oh. Wait, what? He's not coming? How did they steal all of his documents? There was mounds of information in there. Damn. Damn it. I knew we wouldn't be
Damn.
allowed to reveal the truth. Mother. Yeah, it's crashing out.
The first time you get the radio bro crashing out on you.
He's not crashing out on me, he's crashing out about whoever.
FEMA stole the man's research.
I'm gonna call FEMA. Hello, this is Federal Emergency Man. We're now able to provide a consultation regarding official visitor screening procedures. Please state your question. Thank you, that's everything. I didn't feel like talking to them.
So,
Where's the fifth option?
guys, I made an impulse purchase,
What?
Oh no.
What?
and I'm enjoying it.
What did you
Um,
buy?
I did mug warmer.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
I have one on my
can-
throne, I wanna
can just
get.
I can just have warm milk whenever I want.
Yeah? Do I need to provide milk?
What?
What?
Egg.
Are you going to? No, I'm not going to say. Am I going to deny free milk?
I'm more than halfway to having enough points to click on end the stream, and every day I keep thinking about how good it's gonna feel to press that button.
Hey neighbor, thanks for calling. Honestly, I'm still shaken up by all this. Murders, soldiers, FEMA. They even showed up at my door last night. Asked about some people staying there, scribbled something on a tablet, and then one of them took someone out of my house. Where did they take them? Hell if I know, they said it was for tests. I thought all these soldiers and government officials would fix things. Could have known better than to think they'd help us or get us to a safe place. Good thing they didn't take your daughter. No way in hell I'm ever letting that happen. Over my dead body. Those bastards so much as lay a finger on her, I'll tear them apart. What's FEMA? I don't know. Nobody really knows much about them. They came out of nowhere acting like they've got everything under control. But how do they even spot the signs when they're all just normal human traits? Feels like they're not telling us the whole truth.
Ding.
Never thought we'd end up living for interesting times. Telling the visitors and now FEMA. So many questions, not a single damn answer. Neighbor, I need to ask something of you. If something happens to me, promise me you'll look after my daughter. You know what, I'll promise him. Thank you, neighbor. I knew I could count on you. Alright, I gotta go. Stay strong. You know what? I'll watch his daughter for him simply because he was nice enough to come over here and, like, keep me from fucking dying.
Mick dying.
Like, he put in that effort.
Care about you.
I'm gonna talk to the tall guy. Everything okay? Why do you ask? Do you have a fever? I'm not the one with a fever, it's the whole fucking planet. Everywhere you look, someone's dying. The glaciers are melting, the forests are ablaze, the world's burning. The planet is trying to shake us off like blood-bloated fleas. One day it'll succeed, you know? Don't think it'll be painless. Heck. Fuck off, please. I don't feel well. Is he actually sick? Hold on. I'm gonna test him. What do you want to check? Your eyes. Every day is more ridiculous than the last. What if I hadn't slept or was crying? I don't understand how this works at all anymore. What are you gonna do if one sign confirms it, or several? His eyes look fine. I'm gonna go become a visitor tonight. I'll make myself cry by remembering peaceful times. I'm sorry, dude. I feel bad bothering him so much.
Stop bothering him then.
I have to check them! What did you do when you found the empty grave? So I sat down, right on the edge, looked in, nothing. Then I stood up and far off, I see someone standing there. Watching, like at a funeral. No eyes, but teeth wide as hell, glowing almost, smiling, just standing there. Damn near shit myself, I ain't gonna lie. I ran real fast. That part I'm good at. He didn't come after me though. Just disappeared, like smoke. Some fucked up shit. That's when all the visitor mess started. Hey, dude, I gotta check you. Fine.
If there's only one of them. And it's
I-
that guy.
And I throw my shift. Daytime folks see the sun, but all I see is the lamp on my head and shadows in the grave. Ever since that time, though, I've been jumping. Eyes darting, waiting for a visitor to creep up. Hard way to live. Okay, where's that other person? You good?
Let him know.
Oh, he's good now. Look. His stitches are gone. Yay.
Yay!
Yay. Look at him. He's chilling.
Look at him. Yippee!
I'm really happy. The man's looked like he was in pain.
Give him head pats. Wait, we
huh?
didn't do it. I'm sad. So you cut the stitches off. We didn't do that right
no,
away. What
no,
the
he
fuck?
says. No, look, he says. So you cut the stitches off your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Come
on.
I can't understand you. I'm gonna check your mouth, dude. Oh, your teeth are fucked. Okay.
That's good. Bro's gibberish is gibbering for real.
For real, for real.
Also, turning into a visitor is very interesting.
Yeah, let me see who the fuck's knocking.
Check the window.
Good evening. I'm from FEMA.
I'm going to gibber
Oh,
in your
fun.
gabber.
We're making house calls around your neighborhood, checking in with the residents. You alone? No, of course not. My squad split up into a few smaller groups so we could cover more ground. It shouldn't take much of your time. Why are you in protective gear? Should we be wearing that too? No, but you could buy some if it would help make you feel safer. We're still in the process of studying the sun's effect on the environment. It's important for us to be careful since we're spending so much time outside. So, what happens next? I'll take one person. We'll run tests to make sure they're okay and determine if it's safe for them to continue living in the area. And we'll verify that they're human too, of course. Do I need a pack?
Give him the tall guy.
Is this your house? Then no, stay with the other residents. If you need to evacuate, we'll let you know. We'll just take one person and be on our way. He took the gravedigger! No!
Oh no.
I feel so bad for that guy.
No.
But I miss...
He's gonna get counted. I'm sad.
God, imagine... No.
Not my boy.
God. Have a good night. Just fucking...
I think bro's crying.
crying,
I
dude.
think bro was crying.
The entire squad of soldiers that arrived just yesterday is dead. Looks like there was a massacre out there. Bodies are scattered across the
Fun.
whole street, and one of them is missing its head. Did that pale, creepy stranger kill them all?
How fun.
I just felt shivers shoot down my spine. The pale, creepy man is standing on the street smiling. He's holding someone's decapitated head in a helmet. It's the head of a soldier, his face frozen in a terrified grimace. You're not sure what scared him more, the pale visitor or his own impending death. Why is he just... Oh my god, I forgot my fucking door was open because of the cat coming into my room, and I turned my head and saw my door was open and panicked. What the fuck? Your neighbor's house, which he just painted white, is now charred blacker than black. It seems like the fire is still blazing even now. Could someone have burnt it down on purpose? What happened to your neighbor's family? Is anyone still alive? Worried thoughts swirl in your head and you're overcome with a feeling of incomprehension and helplessness. What the
Oh no. Shit. FEMA said they're all fake.
fuck? Holding that head like it was a Target bag. Bro, no.
Oh. Just call the number and see what happens.
Who is this dude and why is he dressed like that? Why are you dressed like this when there was an apocalypse going on, sir?
Bro's gonna go golfing.
Hey, you on the other side of the door. I can hear your footsteps. Bro, I don't like you.
Visitor behavior.
Yeah, why are you dressed like this in the middle of an apocalypse?
Potatoes, alright.
He's built like a Dominican baseball player stripper. Why'd you say that like you got experience, bro? Mind if I crash here for the night? Why are you so cheerful? There is enough anger out here already. Yeah, times are tough, but there's still so much worth fighting for. Next generation. Art. Just the joy of life itself. If we keep telling ourselves it'll be okay, then hey, maybe things will get a little easier. This is Dan Grid. I don't fucking trust him, bro. What's there to be happy about? There's plenty of reasons, but I can't tell you what should make you happy. What did you used to love doing before all this happened? Try to remember what brought you joy. We can't allow ourselves to wallow in despair, now more than ever. I don't trust this guy. I'm sorry, Chad.
Bro, my third space is gone. I can't be happy.
Chad, I don't trust this dude. Chad, I don't trust this dude. I'm gonna be real with you.
You know what you should do? Make this real fun and make a poll.
No, I don't trust him. You should leave. Fine, but maybe there's something I can offer you. Is there something you
Even though
want?
I can't talk. At least I can fish.
I've got
I want you to
Energica.
leave.
He's trying to
I
bribe
want
me.
Baseball bats.
He's trying to bribe me with energy drinks. Dad, he's trying to bribe me
Really?
with energy drinks. Dad, he's trying to fucking bribe me with energy drinks. I already have energy drinks.
Don't
I don't
take
take
bribes.
bribes. Don't bury yourself in your grief. If you focus on it too much, it'll start eating you alive. And from there, well, things can get real dark real fast. Take care of yourself, alright? Dude, you're fucking weird. Oh my god, it's his daughter!
Let her in,
Hi.
bro.
Let me in. What happened? My dad. They killed my dad. Who did it? Visitors came to the house. They were sitting with us. Daddy was talking to them about something, and then they killed him. Our house is on fire. No, I'm helping. You'll help me? Of course I did. I promised your dad I would. Come on, I got you. I'm scared. Okay, I
I'm a
got
small
you.
child.
I got you.
Is
Oh!
the man still standing outside the window?
Why should you
Does
look
it
like
not
that?
change? Hey, wait.
Hi.
You must let the cat in. Isn't that what the guy said?
Yeah. You open or not? What do you want? Create a beer. Or Amleg? Don't know. Give whatever. You open? Yes? No? They tell me come here, so I came. How'd you find my house? D-City? Live there. Saw your house. Walk over here. Not hot here. Did someone send you here? Don't think so. Why matter? Heh. Prove that you're a person. 2 arm, 2 leg, 1 head. Not enough for you? Did I pass test? You open or no? Chat, do we trust?
This is very funny, but guy said let in cat. I trust fortune teller, man.
Fatherless biped must be human.
Fatherless biped is fucking insane.
Human.
Fatherless biped is crazy, bro. You know what? We were told to bring the cat in. Come in. I make myself home here. Come on, kitty. Time to run and enjoy. Okay. No one else is coming tonight.
I will say that is the saddest looking cat I've ever seen.
That's... Shut up! It's not his fault. Yeah, the guy's still outside. Fucking creeping dude is outside. Is that the cat? Why did he look... Why is his eyes like that, bro? Bro!
You look so goofy.
He does look goofy.
Let the man
Love
in.
cat.
What up? Hello, Gundam Goku. Okay, let's sleep. Good afternoon. You are watching the news. Due to a sharp increase in suspected visitor sightings, FEMA has announced that it's enacting new protection measures. Effective immediately, a full quarantine will be enforced across all major population areas. Travel outside your city or to nearby villages is strictly prohibited. Please stay within your designated area. In addition, FEMA has revealed a new visitor identification procedure: hairless armpits. FEMA reports that the visitors have no visible hair in this area, making it a useful identification tool. The agency is asking citizens to bear with these tests and comply with escorts to quarantine zones. That's all for now. Stay calm and don't leave the house during the day. Next up, a report on what you can do if you spot a visitor. FEMA suggests that the visitor phenomenon may be infectious or pose a thus far undisclosed biological threat. For this reason, it's critical to report any potential visitors and isolate them immediately. If you can't hand over a visitor to a quarantine zone right away, issue them a special request to appear before FEMA. During the next collection round, an employee will take in anyone who has this paper for examination. That's all for now. We're gonna have to give this to someone. Kitty!
Cat is overdosing on helium.
Look at this goofy ass cat.
Wait,
Pet him.
why is we have a basement?
Oh, I didn't realize he opened it. Look at him! Look at him, chat! Oh, he made me put him down. Lady, you're fucking creepy and I don't like you. Feeling any better? My good man. We're all going to die someday, that's an unavoidable truth. What do you think happens to us after we die? I don't know. Maybe we float around in space? If you really think about it, we must be completely alone in the universe. Clearly no other life, just cold empty space. If there were, we'd have to have picked up some kind of signal or sign by now, right? I don't know. Empty void of endless darkness. Ending up there would be the same as disappearing. I want to be alone. I'm not gonna test him yet. Katie is here. What more you need? Why are you here? What a dumb question. You open door. Ask yourself what for. What am I for? It's all same to me. Place is place. Said go here, so went here. I don't want any nothing. Not you. What matters is you keep place comfy for Kitty. The rest, who care? I don't trust her, dude.
Why do I not trust the cat?
Cat's just chilling. There's a girl.
Wait,
I want...
paper? Is that paper there before?
Tell me what happened.
In the living room?
I don't know. They came in and started talking, and Dad said they were wrong. Then they said... Oh, she's crying now.
Smell like bitches.
Don't call her a bitch! Her dad just died, dude! Girl calls out for her father nonstop. There's no end in sight to her hysterics. Dude, I feel bad. How are we supposed to communicate? How? What how? Okay.
Does this house
Unless
have
Max-
no paper in it?
Yeah, that magazine was there before. That was the Rose Waldo one I made a joke about.
No, I mean anything we could write on. Give it to this man. Get a pen. Please.
Anxious, got no one to talk to. Nothing like some trauma as spice to one's personality is fucked. Then the phone roulette is just what you need? Are you trying to sell me on, like, phone sex? Call sound 891-8533 will connect you with the perfect conversation partner. Pat, do we do this?
Yes.
Might as well. This is the apocalypse
coin.
after all.
Someone to talk to. Also check basement.
Hold on a second.
It says enter, so I'm guessing something's there. Maybe Visitor Man is in our basement.
What should I know about teeth sign? Accurate testing recommend avoiding tobacco products. Smoking may affect the condition of teeth, leading to unreliable results. Ensure proper eating for visitor status. Please refrain from washing your hands before examination. Water may remove surface residue, which could lead to errors or false results. For accurate screening, please avoid coffee and or caffeine-containing beverages. Caffeine is no cause of both anxiety and nervousness. It can also lead to bloodshot or reddened eyes. Ensure underarm tests are accurate. You must avoid any contact with water. Refrain from showering and washing yourself. Okay, so you're telling me dirt under the nails is a sign, but you're telling us to not wash our hands. What the fuck? Bro, y'all are weird.
Everyone but me is fake. Yippee!
Oh wait, hold on. We gotta call the phone roulette. Hold on. Yeah, I had a feeling.
Oh, did you just dial the neighbor number?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing phone roulette. Hello, you reached phone roulette. We'll connect you with your perfect conversation partner shortly. Please hold. And they're telling you not to let people do any of that just so they have reliable results. Hi, hello. Hello. I need to talk to someone. So much has happened recently. I tried reaching out to friends and people I know, but nobody answers. Then I found out about phone roulette. Maybe it's not the best place for me to be pouring my heart out, but I don't have much choice. I know it's not right to burden a stranger with my problems, but you have no idea how much just talking to someone will help me. It would make me feel so much better. Would you mind listening to me? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you. I think it might be a little easier if I tell you a little bit about myself. Anything in particular you'd like to know? Where do you live? Far from home, unfortunately. I was trying to escape the heat and look for the coldest place I could find. I'm in the middle of nowhere and the cold cuts right down to the bone. Nothing grows here, not even grass. It's a relatively safe place, miles from anywhere. But if there's a cold spot in the ninth circle of hell, then this place isn't so bad by comparison. Funny, I guess
She
you
go
hate
to Antarctica.
You know what? I can't blame her. She's like, fuck this, I'm going to the coldest place on Earth. Antarctica. Alaska.
Yeah.
It's funny, I used to hate the cold, but now it feels like a blessing. I want to believe the sun will calm down and this will all be over, but I'm losing faith in a happy ending. What happens when the sun stops burning? Visitors might never disappear. They could replace our friends and loved ones and we wouldn't even know. Why'd you go alone? I didn't want to, but my best friend actually wanted to come with me, but he couldn't. He didn't have the papers to travel. And then the cataclysm hit, and when the cataclysm hit, getting them became impossible. He was so crushed. He regretted not getting them sooner. I wanted to help him, but I didn't know how. I think he was in love with me, you know? He cared about me so much, always supportive, always ready to listen. Eventually, I realized we liked each other. I wanted him to confess his feelings first, but I guess he just couldn't find the right moment. And then the cataclysm started, and it wasn't time for any of that anymore. I regret not telling him first. Well, you know a little bit about me. Now it's your turn. I'm not used to talking about myself. Don't be shy, I'm ready to listen. Well, I don't have anyone I consider close. I had a tough relationship with my father. And one day I stopped being his son. Now that all that's left of them is this house. I'm sorry. Sounds like you're not too thrilled about the house ending up with you. Pretty much. I can't even imagine what you went through. Hey, thanks again for talking to me. Goodbye, and stay strong, okay? That was nice. Let's do 4 rests to see if we... We're gonna need cat food for our new cat. Cat food. Thank you. Your order has been accepted. Please expect your delivery tomorrow night. Let's go check in the basement.
Basement time.
Cat.
Potato? Or rock? I cannot tell.
One is rock, other is potato.
They look very similar.
Why do I just have a,
Also,
do I just have a
basement
whole
caved in? Like,
Grow taters in the basement.
dude? Why
are we
why
making basement?
why do I just have a whole
Did you
fucking
know
thing
there's
full of
a VR
potatoes?
chat world that is like this house that I've played around in, and it's quite interesting.
That reminds me, chat. Guess what save got me?
Oh yeah.
What did Dave get you? Hmm.
Do you want to see, chat? Hold on.
I want to see.
Here. I'll pause the game. Let me go grab it. I actually haven't had a chance to set it up yet, so this is perfect.
Yes, I can assist in setting it up.
Ooh.
I'll show Chad. Hold on.
Do you have this Blender and Unity and stuff installed?
I think.
I think I can get you like the guides that I used.
Well, I was just gonna set it up as like a model to use real quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for that.
Well, it's got a VRM file in here,
New model?
Yeah,
so it shouldn't be too hard.
yeah. I don't know. I'm less experienced with that stuff, so it was a challenge learning on my own.
Can you send
Doing
me
your
what,
best.
Can you send me what you used?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, VRC Fury. And the program I use is yeah, I'll send you that as well.
Wait, will I still be able to
Yeah.
use this on stream?
Yeah, you need to use that. That thing that the second thing I sent is what you need to
I
use to
think-
set it up.
I think I have VC face already. Hold on.
Oh, perfect.
Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, as they say.
Mountain Dew. Yeah, I
Mountain Dew.
think because I used VC face for my worm model, my old worm on a string model.
Perfect.
Let me add avatar. Downloads. Oh wait, shit! I'm gonna have to unpack it. Extract all.
Insolent worm.
Can't believe you didn't even extract.
Give me a second, Chad.
Loser didn't even bear off.
Yeah.
Creeper.
Oh man. So we back in the mines. Got our
got a pickaxe. What?
No, I was reading something while I was doing this. Got our
Oh.
pickaxe swinging from side to side, side to side. I gotta turn this model off. Give me a second, chat. I'll pull up the other model. Just trust.
Woo.
Trust. What? It's just zoomed in on the mouth. It's just fucking cackling.
Creeper.
Yeah, that's how it
Oh,
starts for
man.
Anglo.
So we back in the mine. Got. How do I zoom out?
I alt scroll, I think.
Oh, I need to. Oh, I gotta show chat what it looks like right now because it's kind of goofy. Give me a second, chat. Hold on. How do I? Hold on. Okay, settings. General settings. How do I make this shit start using spout so I can bring it up on stream?
I think it needs to be game capture and transparency set for the actual
It
OBS
froze.
settings.
When I click general settings, it froze. That's fucking funny.
Amazing.
Give me a second, chat. I'm setting this up. This trust. Oh, hey, ad break. That's perfect timing. Okay, VC face froze, so I'm just gonna close it. There we go. I'm gonna reopen it. Da 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 da. Heads up. You hear a sound. Turn around and look up. Chat. Total shock fills your body. Why is okay? VC face is like. Why does VC face keep freezing? What did I do? I'm switching over. I'm switching over so you guys at least can see the game and you know the stream is going. Heads up. You hear a sound. Turn around and look up. It's not responding again!
Yay.
Crashing out. This is not a yay moment. This is a I'm gonna crash out moment. I don't even know why it's doing that. All I did was. Hold on. Do I need to Do I need to re-download VC Face? Is that the only way I'm gonna fix this shit?
When did you download it last?
This is the current version of it.
Mm. Then I don't know what to tell you because I don't use that program. Wish I could. I don't have a model for it though, so.
I'll figure it out. It's
On
probably.
today's episode of Egg Break Software.
It's fine. I'll figure it out. I want to make it work because I have this model for a reason.
The reason is begging.
Currently. Oh shit! Hold on, chat. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Chat, our roof is leaking.
Oh no.
It's pouring pretty bad right now.
Oh no.
Thankfully, my window that has a crack in it is fine. I just checked it. But the roof in one of the other rooms is leaking onto the bed. Which is why my roommate messaged me to make sure my window was still sealed. So for context, part of my window's broken, so I have tape over it. And then she was telling me, oh, hey, make sure your window's still sealed. And I'm like, well, yeah, like, I assume it's still sealed. Because I don't open it. I leave it alone. Because of the crack. And then she messaged me, it's currently flooding. So, our yard isn't flooding. I'll point, at least that, for now. But, the street is.
House or apartment?
House. But the street is. So yeah. Well, it is monsoon season where I live.
Yeah, there's a nor'easter hitting me as well.
Yeah, my window's fine. It's not even wet. It's still bone dry. Pretty sure because the roof goes over my window, so like I have that.
Monsoon in Arizona?
Yeah, we have monsoon season in Arizona.
Bless me.
It usually happens earlier than this, but it came kind of late. Probably because of, climate change.
Yeah.
Yippee!
Damn, that's gotta be scary AF.
So basically, we'll get really big thunderstorms here, and it was thunderstorming all night. I just didn't realize the thunderstorm was turning into that, for lack of a better word. And VC Face is still not responding.
So fun.
Watch this. Next they're gonna say crashing out.
No, I'm just annoyed at it right now.
Entirely understandable. Why can't technology just work?
Update VC Face.
Print. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I have it in here in my downloads. Extract all. Extract.
Excuse me.
Yeah, like so it was raining all night. And it looks like the rain came back and is now like kicking in pretty hard. But yeah, one of the roof is leaking in one of the rooms. Thankfully, mine's is not. So I have that.
Put a bucket under it or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, they do have a bucket over it, but there's only so much you can do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's right above the bed. You can't just move the whole ass bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chad, here. This is what I meant by it's taking over the whole screen. This is what I opened VC Face to. Fate. Creeper. Aw, man. Hold on, I gotta... Okay, there. It's... For context, I have, Oh god, how do I... Go... How do I make myself go... There. How do I move myself in the thing Fuck it, that's good enough. Gaming. How do I make the...
Gaming.
I don't know why I'm not opening up VC Face myself to adjust it.
Look at me.
I think it's either it's Alt Control or Shift, one of the three.
To do what? Oh,
It's for
there we go.
moving around.
There we go.
It's always one of the three.
Silly
So,
goober
for-
time.
For context, chat. Remember how a while back I showed you guys that Sona I had? The first Sona? Or the scale Sona, I guess, because she was like a new Axolotl mix. Look at me. I'm real now. Or I have a
Okay,
3D
so
model
real.
now. It's also a VR chat model, so I can use it in VR chat.
Yippee!
Once I eventually reset that stuff back up.
Yay.
If I may make a comment,
Yeah,
smash.
bro.
I need more polygons to be able to tell.
Hey, that's enough polygons for me.
Do the eyes not blink? Do I just stare into the void?
You need to turn on auto blink.
Wait, how do I do that?
Is that in settings?
It is in settings, yes.
Expression settings?
Yeah.
I have eye blinking on.
But you have auto blink on.
It's two separate things.
It's funnier to never blink.
I might be.
It is.
It's funnier to never blink.
It is
Zero
funny.
thought, only big, dry
Looks
purple
at you
eyes.
with my big old gay eyes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hold on, effect settings. No.
And it's done by Miss Rocky Co on Blue Sky.
Nice.
Chat,
Love
I
that.
might be stupid.
Why?
What'd you do?
I'm trying to figure out where the fuck to turn on auto blink. Help. Help.
Are you sure it has eyelids saved?
Here, let me settings, expression settings. Oh, it's literally the first thing in general settings,
Oh my god, I am stupid.
so you don't have it on. Yeah, no, it is okay. It is quite literally the first option.
Hi,
I
chat.
see.
My name's Egg.
Average
We
egg
live in a
stream.
society.
We live in a society egg.
Society. In Egg City. That doesn't work.
Bohemian Egg City.
Oh, it does have a spout too, I just noticed. Look at me, Chad. Look at me, Chad. I'm a little.
at you
I'm a. Fuck. There. I'm
You're
trying
a
to.
fish. You're a fish.
A lizard or
You're a
axolotl.
fish.
Wizard.
I'm not a fish.
Everybody call like a fish.
Ah! My name's Egg, and I never learned how to read, or however the meme goes. It's crazy. Okay, there. Little creature.
It's the meme is what up? I'm Jared 19. I never learned how to fucking read.
And I never.
I was on
learned how to
Vine.
Fucking read.
I'm pretty sure.
I was a
I'm pretty sure I could probably like adjust the body. I'm pretty sure I can make the body less stiff, but I think but I don't know. I'm kind of cooking with this. I got distracted from the video game. Hold on. General settings. I can make the body less stiff.
The body's making me more stiff.
I have a tail. Oh my god, chat.
I'm gonna
Chat,
throw you out
chat,
the
chat,
window.
chat. Hold on, hold on.
Save.
Chat, hold on. Chat. Look, tail.
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 How close of a look am I
Wow.
allowed to get?
Whoa.
Preferably from the underside.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Save, you're going out the window.
I threaten to do that to myself all the time. Your words mean nothing to me.
You're not allowed to throw yourself out a window.
I want to throw myself out the window.
I'm a little creature.
Oh, messages failed to load. Oh, I can't put a picture in here.
We're saying that you can perform.
Oh, it's because it's locked for me. I can't see it. That's why.
So you're saying that you can perform a tail job. Why would you want a tail job?
Because it's
Why
fun.
wouldn't you want a tail job?
See, I want you to know I was struggling to figure out which character I was gonna have you get the model of.
Do you regret your choices?
No, but I'm definitely
Hell
gonna.
yeah.
I might get another one myself.
Yeah. The slots have since closed up again, so it might take a little. It might take a bit.
I'm just gonna throw money at you so next time you can get it for me again. Hold on, actually, here I'm gonna send you these.
Depends on how
Where
slippery
is
the
the
tail
picture?
is.
Why
I'm
do you
thinking
want to fuck the note? You know what? It makes sense. Do you guys want to know something funny about the Sona? When I first made her, I did make it that like so salamanders and newts. If you guys didn't know this, have like a thin layer of like mucus on their skin, basically, right? I
Yeah.
did do something where her original thing was that she had aphrodisiac on her skin, and that's why she wore things like sweaters and stuff to kind of not accidentally make people horny. But I was like, she's too wholesome for this. I can't, so I took it off of her.
Oh. Damn.
What if I want to view some of her whole?
Oh!
The
Huh?
fuck?
Bro. I love Ariel. I love her too. Whoa! We should have gone with a fuck cat! That's what we should have done!
Corruption time.
That shit would have been
Corruption
funny as
time.
hell! We could have... Dave, how much are those? Are they usually?
$60, 70 to be VTuber ready.
Okay. I'm saving money. Next time they open, I'm throwing 70 at you to go get me one a fuck cat.
All right.
Hell yeah, buddy! Maybe I should get reactive of peyote. It's been a minute since you've shown peyote, Gage. Your first OC was Succubus? Yeah, it makes sense. My first OC was, if I remember correctly, she was like a fucking daughter of like a dragon goddess or whatever the fuck. And she just like lives in the woods. She literally just chilled in the woods. I love that. She just like, I don't fucking like people.
No joke.
Woods.
My first OC literally was Daxon.
What do you mean makes sense? Isn't peyote a drug? Yes, exactly.
I think the first thing I drew was an alien, so I think that would technically count. Generic alien guy. With big old eyes.
Around
and
the
a big
world.
forehead.
Hold on, how do I make the model
Anyway,
like rotate?
put me inside the sweater.
How do I make the model rotate?
Man, I really
Around
shouldn't
the
have closed
world,
VC face so I
around
could
the
continue
world.
testing those.
Around the world, around
go.
the world, around the world, around the
Aren't you
world.
happy to have your own little homunculus?
Yeah.
This is the egg. It does whatever she wants stream. We're not playing human anymore.
No, we're playing. I promise we're playing the game. I just got distracted.
I'd also like to point out that all of us can say, no, we aren't human, because none of us are. We have an axolotl, a bear, and a robot.
And they walked into a bar.
And then they all fell down, because who runs into a bar?
Game over
Stupid.
Zoom when Egg's dead is paid off. God, I would. I shouldn't say that out loud. I'm trying to pay it off, I swear. I promise.
Also, Egg, I sent a DM because I cannot send a message in the live chat
Why do you want...
message section.
I know I saw it, I'm shaking my head at it.
Serial sent me an image, but it was a brick being
I
thrown
sent
through
you
a
both
window.
the same thing.
How
The last thing I
does
sent
Okay.
you both was the same
mistake
thing.
anyways?
The way donating works, if you do exclamation point throne, actually, hold on, I can do it for you. Give me a second. If you do this, there's that, and then you can donate money to whatever gifts you want that are on my throne. And they all help me. Oh yeah, Save, can you resend me the thing you drew of Cryptid as the persona you made me?
I'll have to find it, because that was a while ago.
Yeah. Okay, let's check eyes. Hey, your eyes look fine. I trust you. You're pretty chilled. Obviously, I trust the little girl because, like, she's a fucking child. I'm not testing her, bro. Just check his armpits. Fucking seriously, are you a moron? Has FEMA blended your brains, or are you just blasted? Thought all the strong stuff was gone already. Well, since you're asking, I'll show you. Did you get what you wanted? Maybe sniff to your heart's content? Thanks for not digging around in my ass. Gotta leave him alone. In case you're mourning. Why are you here? I need to test you. You test me? Haha, yes. Be sure of something. I'm gonna test your fucking teeth. You chew up what conscious leaves behind? Perfect white is terrifying. Eat it all up. Buy a tasty whole and tasty conscious. What is conscious? Guys, her teeth are white. I don't trust that shit.
Been in your house for a while already. And you had
Jack-
to let the cat in.
Jack, can I shoot her?
I'm not gonna stop you.
Jack,
You're
can
the
I...
one with the mouse.
Jack, can I shoot her?
I'm saying no, but
Council, do we shoot her?
Yes.
nay.
Ayaka said yes, so we have 2 for yay.
All in favor, me.
You've done one test.
Nay. Okay, that's 2 yay, 2 nay. Do we want to do another test? I have energy drinks. I could, like, take one real quick and test the rest of her. Do you guys
Nah,
want...
killer.
That would make me happy.
I'm always correct by... You know, Ayaka tends to be correct. I do trust Ayaka.
I'm always correct. Ah, yes.
Because I wish I could just give her to FEMA, bro.
Was there a way to get those papers?
I don't know how to get them. They didn't explain it to me.
Call FEMA and see if they'll send you some.
That's why I called them earlier.
Oh, and they didn't say they would?
They didn't
Yeah.
say shit. There's a cat sleeping. Let me check outside my window again.
Window time.
Oh fuck, I was trying to read that.
That's more guys.
So they're checking the bodies, it looks like.
Why are we looking around like the corner of
You
the
see
window?
a human skull decorating a stake, still wearing a helmet. Its skin has been burnt black and it looks like someone has yoinked out its teeth. The head must have been out there all day. You can't shake the feeling that this grisly display is a thread probably left behind by that creepy pale visitor.
How fun. He must really like you.
You're looking at the ruins of your neighbor's house. Is that the Aurora Borealis?
Ooh.
A happy family
Pretty.
lived there until recently. Now
Spliced
only a ghostly...
entirely within your apocalypse.
A happy family lived there until recently. Now only a ghostly shell remains. A strange feeling overwhelms you as if you knew this was coming. As if death was coming to that house. Oh, so very soon.
It
I
must
too
have
leave
been
heads
Party
on
Guy.
sticks in front of my precious house is crazy.
I bet it was Party Guy.
Oh god, the FEMA guy's back.
Aurora Borealis.
Did he bring
This
Gravedigger
time
with
of
him?
year, in this
When
part of
we
the
were-
country,
I thought you said Aurora Bestialis. Don't worry, it won't take long. When will you return the person you took? Return? Ah, so our team's already been here. After screening, there's a mandatory quarantine period. They'll be staying with us for a while. For that, they'll be sent back from the quarantine zone. Fine, if there's no other way. Don't worry, the procedures are demanding, yes, but we allow them time to rest. What? No! They're taking Tall Man!
Oh man, we'll be fine.
Aurora Bestialis.
I have no idea how you're supposed to get more FEMA notices.
Once the tests are done, we'll tell you what to do next. If you're unable to immediately transfer a suspected visitor to a quarantine zone, issue them a mandatory appearance slip. Okay, now we got one. Now we finally have a fucking FEMA notice. Who's not? What the fuck? Oh god, now your ass. There's still hold up here, I see. Well, yeah. What'd you think of that guy? The one in the suit? I don't know how to feel about him. Why feel at all? everything's been decided for us. A blessing, wouldn't you say? Or do you want to fix it all by yourself? I'm doing what I can. What exactly can you do? Can you ward off death? Stop the floods, the fires, and decay? The only thing you can stop is a heartbeat. Listen. You alone? No. Still scrambling to survive in this new world, are we? Why? Dogs rule the world now, and only dogs survive here. You understand what I mean, yes? Things will never go back to the way they were. Life changed. You're falling out of rhythm. Next time we
I
meet,
do have a question.
things will be interesting. Actually, we can stop Eggs Boobas from hurting by holding them checkmate, creature!
Why can't we just shoot
feel
this
like we
guy
had
through
this
the door?
conversation today
Like,
already.
actually.
I feel like one shot's not gonna be enough to kill him, dude. If he took out
Just keep shooting
a
him,
whole
then.
group, if he took out a whole group of armed soldiers, what is me with a shotgun gonna do?
Slow him
Then
down.
what's it gonna do to any of the other ones in your house?
I don't know, man. I think he might be stronger than them, considering he isn't even trying to hide what he is. Next time we meet, things will be interesting. Fuck you. I don't like you.
You shouldn't.
Who's knocking? Oh, the
You
guy's back.
asshole.
Wonderful. The cat's with you. What to do with the one who brought it is for you to decide.
Yes, yes.
Why did you ask me to let someone with a cat into my home? A powerful entity awaits the cat's approach. It is thanks to she that my eyes reach far, but even I do not see all. One thing is yet clear though. Something wicked this way comes. You cannot halt it. Perhaps they'll mention it on the radio. Will you listen? What's gonna happen? I can't say more. I've already said too much. Treat this as advice if you wish, but... For 2 days yonder, testing portends doom. When I first came here, I felt something strange. Now the feeling has subsided somewhat. I think we're on the right path. I hope to see you again soon. Anyone else coming? Oh, it's my delivery. How'd you become a delivery guy? Just passed the screenings, they checked all the signs, decided I'm human, and... Oh, you mean how I ended up still working in the middle of an apocalypse? Well, what else was I supposed to do? Sit at home and rot? At least out here I can distract myself and not think about this whole shit show. Besides, my family's far away. I'm not from around here, I only came to study at the local university. I'm on my own. Being alone isn't that bad. Yeah, sure, you're surrounded by other people in your house, so that's easy for you to say. Alright, I've got an order here to deliver to you. Ready to take it? Yes. Here you go, cat food. Have a good night. Okay. More people coming? Alright. There, much better. Oh, howdy! My lovely wife and I are looking for a safe place to weather the storm. Would you mind if we crash here for a bit? Only if it's no trouble, of course. Does my house look like a safe place to you? Honestly, your place looks safer than any other we've seen, right, honey? I don't really know how to explain it, haha. Why is your wife not talking?
Insert emoji.
He's like a ventriloquist.
No, that's...
That's worse.
I can't tell if that's worse or better. It worries me. I don't really know how to explain it, haha. Big house, a little out of the way, no nosy neighbors, less chance of some cuckoo showing up, right? I don't know, man. I don't want to let you near my house considering you saw and you're like, oh, hey, it's a big house, it's out of the way. There's no one who can spy on you. I don't trust that you're not gonna try to rob me. Can your wife speak for herself? Of course she can. Honey, will you say something? She's just really tired. I'm sorry. Maybe we can all talk together another day. If we ever meet again, of course. I don't trust you, dude. I don't trust you one fucking bit. Oh, forgive me. I shouldn't be pushing you like this. I don't trust him. I don't trust the two of them. Please, friend, forgive my insistence, but try to put yourself in my shoes. My wife is very weak these days. She tires quickly and I'd do anything for her, you understand? I love her dearly. I'd give you the shirt off my back if it could buy her safety. Speaking of that, we've got something. It's not my shirt, but how about Energeca? I'm willing to give you everything I have left if it means my darling can get a moment's rest. So what do you say? Will you help us? Why is everyone trying to give me energy drinks?
You were talking about how it made your chest feel funny earlier. Maybe you should have kept your mouth shut.
They're trying to kill me, chat. They're trying to kill me. Chat, do we trust? No, I don't take bribes. I'm not. Got it. Sorry to bother you. We'll just have to keep looking, won't we, sweetie? Come on, move your damn legs. I'm tired too. And you say you love her, but you said that to her, bro? Fuck you. Glad I didn't let you in my house. Who else is... Who are you two? Why is there two of you? Winning. Winning real hard. Hello. Oh, here, lean on me for a bit. Do you maybe have room for us? Are you both sick or just one of you? We all suffer from depression to some degree. We knew where things were headed even before all this trouble with the sun. Have you been following the news? It's all been leading up to this, but I don't think the sun's actually gonna explode. What are you gonna do next? I have to find somewhere my sister can feel a little more comfortable, and we'll create a new life for ourselves. They say our lives are over, but I disagree. If anything, things should get easier from here on out. Okay, chat, do we trust him?
They're just some old smokers. Surely there's nothing wrong with them.
Let him
No.
in.
You don't trust them? What about chain smokers are trustworthy? You also said you trust the fat man.
Ba 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 ba.
I'm thinking. Trying to figure out what I want to do. You don't think you're wrong on that one? What about these two?
Return the bitches to sender.
Return the bitches to sender is crazy. You know what? Fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. We'll trust the sisters. Thank you. Help me bring her in. I think our parents' death worsened her condition, but she's been like this for a long time now.
Smell like bitches.
Maybe she'll be able to snap out of it a little while we're here. Yeah, hopefully.
Huggies.
We've allowed one person in our house. In the midst of Tom. What do you mean someone died? Emergency broadcasts. Wildfires are now sweeping across forested regions. Experts believe abnormally high solar activity is to blame. While the full-scale disaster remains unclear, fire crews from nearby cities have been deployed to contain the blaze.
Called it. Bitches be killing.
Despite the fires, visitors continue to terrorize the nation. FEMA has announced a new identifying sign to aid the public in their fight against the visitors. Aura Film Photography. Dark patches appearing on a captured image is a strong indicator that the subject may be a visitor. Stay calm and remain indoors during daylight hours. We have to aura check them? Up next, a word from our sponsors.
That's an
Most
actual
terrifying thing imaginable. Or a farming visitor.
Each day, spotting visitors is getting harder and harder. Science aid the search, but did you ever find yourself wanting a foolproof wave? Introducing our new revolutionary aura-sensitive photographic film! Exposes the soul's energy, allowing you at home to discern a visitor from a human. Take a photo, and if you see black patches, you found a visitor! Now, a word from our sponsors.
Neat.
Who's dead? Okay, they're still in there.
It better not be the child.
I
I'm
swear
going to be
to fuck-
upset. Trash bags. Yippee. Grab a knife real quick. Stab someone.
Give him the old Kilimanjaro.
Pat him on the shoulder and point to the wounds near his mouth. You good. Man's trying to talk so bad. I trust him.
Man,
I don't trust anyone in this room. Are you even human? And you? What is left in you? What does make me more worse? You know what? We're checking your eyes.
Egg, is this model intentionally supposed to look like a classic
just hand her a
Animal
FEMA notice.
Crossing character?
Yes, it's supposed to look like that. No, we're gonna take a photo of her. Let me check your stupid aura.
do you have any of that?
What is? I do not know. Time to try. Nobody tell me this. Caused by a wonderful dance would scare me. I'm giving you a FEMA notice. What's that? Fine, I'll take it. I don't trust you, bitch. I just need to gather my strength if only someone would lend me some. How's your sister doing? I have to help her with a lot of things. I was able to give her a bath yesterday. I couldn't even get her in a tub at home. Nothing has changed for her yet, but thanks for asking. Depression can make things really complicated. I'm afraid that if something happens and we need to run, she won't even find it in herself to stand up. Or she won't be able to eat anything because she can't find the energy to chew or swallow. Tired too. I think I'll rest a bit. I'm gonna test her. We'll check her teeth.
I would
We've always had strong teeth
test
in our
the
family.
sister, actually.
Back when I was a teenager, I even tried to open a beer with them.
Mm.
Okay, she's got a fucked up tooth, so I trust her.
Mm.
It didn't end well, but it taught me to take better care of what can't be replaced. This is the end. How are you holding up? I feel like there's a blanket of chains draped over my entire body. It's also very, very heavy, and it's weighing me down. I want to take it off. Okay, I'm gonna
Why
check.
do I not trust her?
She took. I trust her because the other one's safe. So I'm gonna check her eyes. Yeah. My sister and I have similar eyes. Oh! But hers aren't so empty. Let's go drink one of those energy drinks real quick. Give me a second, chat. Because it could be that she's crying because she is, like, depressed. This is
True.
fucking me up. We're gonna go
You can't
check.
even click on it. Oof.
We're gonna go check another thing.
It gives you 1 energy back? Oh.
Let's check her teeth. Okay, she has a missing tooth. She's good.
Okay.
You already know the Grinner's visitor Edge or Black. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, fuck. He's the one who fucking did it.
Is that the
This-
same tooth that the sister was missing?
Yeah. Where's my cat? Where's the cat? Is my question.
I don't like that. I don't like that it's the exact same tooth.
Where's the cat? Where's my kitty? I need to kill her ASAP. Oh yeah, like that's why I gave her the FEMA notice. Fuck her. Oh, there's a cat.
Oh, kitty.
Dispatch says, according to cell status code 51, reports of explosions at 3:00 hours. Unit 332A reporting. Mass civilian casualties. Officers down. This is 28 code 451. Requesting burn team for body disposal. And acknowledge initiating code 984. The city is cordoned off pending investigation. Stand by for reinforcement. These guys are struggling out there. Cashier's day.
Is there anything outside right now? I just thought about that.
Well, I can't check outside during the day because sun's too bright.
Oh, right. Right.
You see a woman crying over her wounded husband. You can't tell if he's alive or dead. Here street, she drags his heavy body away from the gunfire. You're left with a single thought. Things will only get worse. Let's check this one. The path along the field is littered with the bodies of those who tried to run. Nearby stands the man responsible, a FEMA officer. He holds a rifle, smoke still drifting from the barrel. They bang on doors, desperate for shelter, but it seems no one is willing to let them in. Who the fuck?
Oh, the city's burning.
Why, hello there, dear boy. Who are you?
Oh, fun.
I'm just an old coot who knows a thing or two about mushrooms. But never mind me right now. The mycelium told me something very troubling. Oh yes. The mushroom festival is upon us, and time...
Bro, let Tom Bombadil in now.
Bro.
The mushroom
The
festival.
mushroom festival is upon us, and time, my dear boy, is slipping through our fingers. So please listen carefully and heed my words well. Mycelium?
Let the mushroom man in.
Yes, I know it's hard for ordinary folks to understand. They speak in their own strange way. Mycelium is how mushrooms talk to one another. I learned to hear them by studying the Book of Smiles, but what they told me last... Well, let's say it's not good. They spoke of the mushroom festival drawing near. And that, my dear boy, is no good at all. No. The mushroom festival? Oh, my dear boy. We must consult the Book of Smiles for that. A great mushroom up shall rise, and scatter its spores far and wide. Its shadow shall spread and swallow the sun, and not a single place will be spared to fun. But this mushroom shall not rise alone, for it's a festival, it is known. Polly, we can't allow that happen. We must stop it. Together, my boy. I tore some pages from the Book of Smiles. Please take them. They'll tell you what to do. Alright, I'll take the damn pages. There's a good lad. Give him a read when you have a quiet moment, won't you? Now then, I must be off. I'll be back once you've got everything sorted, so get a wiggle on. I bid you good day, good health, good joy, and plenty of smiles, my dear boy. Toodaloo. Oh, is that all I got tonight?
All those people outside, but no, just the one
mushroom man,
guy.
come back.
And we can't even let him in. Big sad.
He's the only one who came and talked to me, too. Oh, there's paper. Today the world was built anew, and in the basement mushroom grew. It towered high, and time is nigh to eat it whole if one would try. Welcome guest is not for strong, the mushroom stands tall and long. Under a tree of apple can you rest, to feed you with her sweet fruits best. Day will come when one must kneel before the mushroom's mighty peel, while on the clock the hand shall climb. Make haste, my friend, there is no time. Someone else died! I bet you the fucking... Reports of civil unrest are coming in from a neighboring city. Due to unresolved circumstances, FEMA forces have sealed off the area. Please remain in your homes. Stay where you are and await further instructions. And remember, support FEMA and join the fight against the visitors. That's the latest for now. Next up, some ads. Up next, a special report on the nature of the visitors. What are the visitors? Ghosts? Creatures from deep underground? No, this is neither a sci-fi novel nor a cheap headline. This is our new reality. Rumors continue to swirl about the visitors' true origin. Are they aliens, The Walking Dead, a lab experiment gone wrong? According to authorities, these are all just baseless theories. Studies show that a visitor is a human who has come into contact with an undetermined biological agent. Methods of transmission remain unknown, and FEMA urges everyone to stay alert for the signs of visitors. If you believe you've been exposed or are unsure whether you might be a visitor, call the FEMA hotline. The fact that it's like, oh yeah, self-report, that's totally a good idea. That's the latest for now. Stay tuned for more after the break. Even the hardest workers need a break. With Marlboro cigarettes, you can take a deep breath and truly unwind. Marlboro cigarettes for real men. The company is not liable for any harm that may occur to lungs or lifespan. Consume at own risk. Oh,
Marlboro.
And I can order them down now.
Marlboro.
Instead of Marlboro, it's Marlboro.
Yeah, this crazy bitch is doing it! I should have shot her. Should have shot you.
If you shoot her, do you get the thing back?
I don't think I do, that's the problem.
I think if you use cat food, it prevents a death.
I bought 2 things of cat food.
Are you feeding them to the cat?
How do I feed the cat?
Talk to the cat.
Where is the cat right now? Wait, up here. Oh my god, I should have fed him. You're right. Little face hard to read, but you're pretty sure he's happy. You have a strange feeling you can sleep peacefully tonight. Fuck! Feel like your furry friend has shared one of his life with you to say thanks. Who knows, maybe death will pass your home by tonight. I should have fed him. Stupid ass cat lady. Let's call for rest. And damn, I can't get any orders. Let's do phone roulette again.
Gun just pops out of the receiver and fires.
Yeah. Invalid.
Oh, that's bad. Well, I guess phone roulette's no longer an option.
Was it in the city?
Yeah.
Was it? Because the city was on fire yesterday.
We did what needed. Why
So
no
that
about rest? Fine. A, someone send me, but then say what next. Dude, her fucking sister is dead. Look at that fucking thing. Oh, I'm gonna check
Could have
myself.
shot her.
I'm gonna check myself in the bathroom. My teeth are white.
You already checked your teeth.
My eyes are bloodshot. What about my hands? My hands are clean. Okay. Hello, Gone from Tekken 3? It's crazy. Should have fed the damn cat. Let's check. We gotta check the radio.
Cat just
If you
sitting
can
there.
hear, just stay away from the outskirts. FEMA officers are shooting at anyone trying to leave.
Hold on.
I don't know what's going on, I just want to get out of here. Someone... Oh, fuck, he definitely got shot just then. Alright, let's check the windows. A group of evicted stand by your neighbor's ruined house. They are in shock, whispering among themselves. You likely want to take shelter there. But is there any place left to hide from all this? Any place in the world?
To
On the path stands a man armed with an assault rifle. He looks completely insane. His jacket is covered with torn out teeth, eyes, and who knows what else. It's hard to make out from here. Both are trophies. What if he kills not for defense, but for sport? Whatever the case, you hope you're not his enemy.
I do like that
Man
the
with an assault rifle.
the strong
people.
visitor just
On a pole
he
hangs
just
a
goes
man.
around and checks
On-
people if they're by themselves.
On a
That's
pole-
all he does.
On a pole hangs a man with a sign that reads, "You took everything from me." Was he robbed, or did FEMA take his family? Your mind races, but there's no answers, only guesses. Okay. Hey buddy, got room in there for a stand-up guy like me? Why do you look like that?
Art style.
I don't know, man. I don't... Face looks funny. I don't know how I feel about this man. How do I know you're really a stand-up guy? Believe me, I've got the biggest heart of any man you'll ever meet. Sure, I might punch out folks with perfect teeth and pretty eyes, but only because I envy them. Come on now, I'm messing with you. Don't go getting all stiff on me. One or two weird traits doesn't make you a visitor. I've never heard anyone over their teeth or their eyes or whatever they're saying on TV. I couldn't even... Never mind. Sound kind of tipsy. Have you been drinking? I had myself a king's breakfast this morning, sticking to my buddy's meal plan. Beer for breakfast, wine for dinner. Tasty, healthy, even counts as dieting if you do it right. I mean, feast your eyes on this body. Relax, I'm just pulling your leg again. Don't hold it against me. These days, a good laugh is all we got. And why not drown our misery a little? Dealing with everything going on sober is just too much. But all jokes aside, you letting me in, buddy? I don't trust this guy. Damn, buddy. Alright, I won't be a bother to you, I'm off. Sorry, man.
No.
Hello there, dearie. Walking all the way out here, really took it out of me, let me tell you. Man, where the fuck did you come from? Squints. I'm squinting real hard. Might I pop in and rest a minute? How long were you walking? What really constitutes a long walk anyway? Take yourself. You're at home, yet how many steps have you taken here? Have you been walking for a long time? You must have been, surely. I've marched through more decades than you've had hot dinners. That's the difference between you and I, dearie. I don't like the way you talk. Cause you wouldn't have done some fucking philosophical shit right there. You would have been like, hey, my feet are aching because I'm old. You just kept walking. Why'd you stop here? Have you got wigs in those ears, dearie? I'm tired of walking. Here I have a chance to catch my breath and maybe have a nice nader. That's enough for an old lady like me. You give me something and I'll spin you a yarn in return. Share and share alike. Maybe these old bones can rest a while. I'm sorry, I don't trust you. Turned away everywhere I go. Where my wings are clipped, yet I open my throat to sing. But they all turn to me eventually, even if they say they never will. I don't hold grudges. I help everyone who comes to me. Even you will find yourself in need someday, dearie. Who will you turn to then? Yeah, I don't trust you, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's just weird that old-ass lady randomly pops up. Oh, who are you? I don't trust half the people. I don't trust any of these people coming to my house, dude. Look at
Oh,
them.
it's him. It's him.
Him? What do you mean it's him?
Cough, cough.
It's him.
You let me in, pal. What happened to you? I got caught in the midday sun while putting out forest fires. I'm the only one left from my squad. The rest, boss just wouldn't let them leave. Now they're on shift eternally. Why aren't you at a... That's a dumb question. What are you gonna do? I wanted to keep putting out those fires. I wish I could have died back there instead of the guys. But they made it pretty clear I'd done enough. I can't get home, public transport ain't running no more. The only thing I can do now is rely on human kindness. You know what?
Yeah.
I trust him. I don't think
Yeah,
I'll
no,
be
but
in
I
here for too long.
True. Like, there are, I think there is at least one character who is that you can invite in that's always guaranteed to be a visitor.
Then won't have to
At
die
least.
alone in a third. They gave us a slip of
Like,
paper at work
that's
before we
nice.
went to put the fires out. The mandate telling us to report to a FEMA quarantine zone, but why go if everyone who does ends up dead? Here, I don't need it anyway. You can
Another
throw it away
one.
or use it for something else. That's nice of him. He gave me one.
Let's go.
Yeah, I can use that.
Yay, the firefighter. We love firefighter.
Good afternoon, this is the news. Bringing you an important update. New details have emerged regarding a recent incident that unfolded in the city. It seems one of the city's quarantine zones came under attack from an armed individual. The suspect motive remains unclear at this time, and it's unknown if the attacker had any accomplices. Notably, several unverified individuals also escaped the quarantine zone. Silence is the harbinger of death. A sinister quiet that drains the soul, but worse than the emptiness is the ringing, a distant funeral knell growing ever louder. The bells toll for us all, filling our ears with endless din. Is that bugs? Filthy thoughts caught in webs of wax, an infernal nest where visitors thrive, tangled deep in sticky sustenance. Theremin inundans. Theremin inan... Huh? Up next, a special report on the temporary suspension of corpse disposal. Today's incident has sparked numerous theories. Some reports describe a lone shooter, others mention an armed group dressed in hooded clothing. It's probably that dude we saw. However, the city's
Yeah,
greatest
the guy
challenge
that
may
has
still
the
lie
hood,
ahead.
though.
Due to the lockdown measures imposed, corpse disposal in surrounding areas has been temporarily suspended. Residential inspections, however, will continue as scheduled. If you are able to cremate the deceased, do so immediately. If not, please wait till the situation is resolved before surrendering any accumulated remains. That's the latest for now. Stay tuned. Where's the cat? Gotta feed you.
Gibby.
Those weren't the ones who attacked the quarantine zone. So it was the fucking clock dude. I saw it. I saw what was there. That it wasn't human. Oh, that's comforting.
It was probably Pale Man.
So goddamn
Then-
hot. How are you feeling? Smells like it's even worse than I thought. Damn it, I don't think I'll hold out longer than a week. It did ease the pain a little when you let me in though, thank you. But now I'm just sitting here while the rest of the guys are out there dying. I could have stayed with them. It's not like I've got anything to lose, I'm already on the way out after all. How long you plan to stay here? Until they come for me. What else I to do? I don't know. They tell me thing, now I wait till tell me more. And who tells you what to do? Who are you waiting for? She already has a notice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also, Ayaka has a point.
If it's random, okay, we'll check the sister again. It doesn't. Oh, it won't even let me check her. That's concerning.
Oh.
Maybe it's because she's like.
I assume
The
it's like
sister
a
is
like
dead.
not responding kind of thing.
Yeah, how are you gonna get
Yeah.
home? Press your palm together above your head, mimicking the shape of a roof. Have you checked the ship tickets? Move your hand, mimicking a ship on the waves. Perhaps how to contact the embassy. Oh! They gave me, okay, they gave me a paper, I can use this.
Can't even take a picture. That's odd.
Maybe you don't have film.
Please
for
note
it.
there's currently no way to get to our country by plane or train. How can I help you? And he sent a tourist back home. That's to wait until flights are permitted again. Ferries are running, but it's not safe. The risk of night typhoons is too high.
Night typhoons?
Plus the water night typhoons. Plus the water reflects the sun onto the ships, and the crew can't handle being out there for long. How am I supposed to send him home? You'll just have to wait. I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do right now. He doesn't even speak our language. Listen, our staff are swamped. You might have heard that embassy budget got cut hard. We're doing everything we can. Don't like how we handle things? Do it yourself. Good luck crossing the border with those visitor checks in the midday heat. Sorry for snapping. You're not the first one who's called sounding so pissed off. Have a good day. Damn. Can I order more cat food, please? There.
Basement. I can't wait for the world to explode.
Pat, should I eat the mushroom?
How did it even grow in a potato? Reduced to 0 energy. Oh, that's fun.
Let's check my eyes again. We're still fucking red. Let's check my fucking hands. Okay, my hands are clean. Firefighter died. Sister is a visitor. I guarantee it. I refuse to believe otherwise. Did I eat the mushroom, Chad?
Do it.
Mushroom consumed.
Nom nom.
Watch me get some weird ass dreams.
That was a big ass mushroom. Just took a bite out of it. Great.
A group affected by FEMA has settled into your neighbor's ruins. Though little remains, the basement seems to be intact. Small pocket of safety. But how long can they keep hiding? Wild dogs roam the street. Their bodies bear shallow burns. Hunger wears them thin. Inside your house, you don't fear them. Now you can't shake the feeling that it's better not to go outside.
Can you call the neighbor's house? No, it was disconnected, right? The neighbor's number?
It's only their basement that's intact. Small groups carrying their
Yeah.
belongings gather nearby. They whisper, careful not to be heard by FEMA officers. Looks like they're moving from the quarantine zones and are moving into former residents' homes. The hanging man looks like a grim welcome sign. Okay, let's see who's at the door. Hello. Require more test subject from you. The sooner we get them, the better. What's going on in the city? Repercussions? Keep resisting and there will be even more outbreaks that need wiping out. Hiding visitors only makes them multiply, and that only leads to more violence. When are you gonna get rid of the visitors? If it were that simple, there'd be no need for FEMA. Just let us do our job. We have the situation under control. I have to hand someone over to you again? Yes. But this time we'll need two. Doesn't matter who, just hand two of your residents over now. Everything will be back to normal soon. Fine, if it helps. Remember, help us help you. Thank you for understanding. Bring these two back before you know it. Okay, so they took the weird lady and the sad lady, and we'll handle the visitors.
Yay! Depressed girl and smiley girl. We have firefighter
Who the fuck
man.
is this bit? Who are you?
That pose.
Who are
is
you?
perfect.
Bitch!
Him.
I can feel it. What exactly do you feel, bro? Death? Death have taken a liking to your house. He's quite fond of it. I don't know how many have died here, but her presence is strong. Who even are you? Why are you dressed like that? We are the harbingers of a new faith, the orators of a hollow doctrine. Death hath come, she wishes only to soothe humanity, to free us from our chaos, bitterness, and bedlam. You're simply helping her draw closer. It's the only way to find salvation. There's no going back. So,
You gonna kill someone?
what do you want? We must perform the burial rites in ways anew. Your house is perfect for it, yes. Death's influence is strong here. What's been happening here anyway? In any case, let my brothers trespass here. Protect them. Huh? They must survive long enough to complete their task. Sounds like a tall order. It is a tall order. The road to higher purpose is never one easily traveled. Do you now long for peace? A world where no one is a burden for it to any other? Watch over my people, and remember, if one of them dies, your house will be reduced to nothing. Alas, there is no other way. Fine. Thank you. They shall not need much time, but still watch over them. See you later. I'll come to check on them.
I love that the other option was, I'll shoot you all.
You winning egg? I've had 2 people die already, bro. Oh god.
Didn't feed the cat.
Dude is here! Keeping your distance, huh? Good, that improves your odds of survival, unless you're a visitor. Who are you? Someone who's here to clean up the filth. My neighborhood's dealt with. You don't need to know nothing else about me. What's with that gear? Is that supposed to make you visitor-proof? Visitor-proof? Oh, you mean this necklace? That's a good term. I'll have to start using that. It's a reminder, so I don't forget how many houses and how many towns I've purged. I'll pull a single tooth from each visitor. They're the easiest trophies to take. If one really leaves an impression on me, I might take something else. How long are you planning on cleaning the filth? Hold it. You already asked your questions, now ask mine. Anything going on in this neighborhood, any threats I should keep an eye out for? FEMA's been taking people, no sure if they're coming back. They know what they're doing. They've got their ways of spotting visitor signs. Why would you bring them up? Suspicious. Because it's weird! I've got someone I need to check on. Way back later, you've piqued my interest. Okay, bye, dude. Did you kill them? Tell him about the pale one? Oh, I should have told him about the pale one. My delivery's here. You look kinda down. My coworker got taken by FEMA. Morning check, same as always, I noticed his eyes. Red. God damn it. And that was it. They hauled him off. Now I don't even know what happened to him, or if they'll ever let him out. And what if my eyes go red from the lack of sleep? They're gonna drag me off to one of those fucking quarantine zones too? Don't stress it, you'll be fine. Fine? What's fine even mean in the middle of a cataclysm? Are these visitors, signs, and the damn sun? I thought it couldn't get worse, but every day it just gets crazier. Next thing you know, they'll say pubic hair is a sign of being a visitor, and the world will even go more batshit. Alright, I gotta get a move on. Take your order and I'll be on my way. Have a good night.
That's funny, though.
Someone else at the door. Why are you wearing your pants high water like that? Who is this man?
I love that some of these seem like they're drawn and other ones seem like they're just pictures. But you can't tell the difference between them.
Why are you dressed like this, man?
Oh.
I don't know how I feel about this man. You're not with FEMA, are you? No, I'm not with FEMA. Oh, good. That means I can trust you. See, it's standard FEMA protocol that agents disclose their affiliation when asked. They're required to. If you say you're not with them, you must be telling the truth, Which means I can share something big with you. What are you talking about? Brace yourself, my friend. The scales are about to fall from your eyes. Election rigging. Proof the moon landing was fake. Government mind control. Proof fast food. Yes, really. And finally, the truth behind those potato-flavored chips. What does that even mean? They're an abomination of science. This guy kind of sounds crazy, which makes me kind of trust him.
You need to make sure you have some people in the house, too.
We already have like 2 people in the house.
We have firefighter and who?
The guy whose mouth was sewn shut.
Oh, right. Okay. So you don't need to, but I don't think any of those other guys are coming back either.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Tall man. Loved you while you were here. Why must you go?
You know, I'll let this funny guy in. I knew I could trust you. Believe me, I've seen the truth. Forget all the lies you've been told. I'm letting him in just because he talks so crazy that, like, It's hard for me to believe he's a visitor. Because a visitor would not talk like that.
Don't think so.
Good afternoon, you are watching the news. FEMA is currently assisting victims of the quarantine zone attack. Due to overcrowding in existing facilities, the agency has made the following decision. Evacuee residents will be temporarily housed in buildings on the outskirts of the city. Fortunately, local homeowners are cooperating with FEMA and have offered shelter. As of this report, only a portion of the escaped individuals have been located. Thankfully, a new identifier has been announced by officials earlier today. Bleeding gums. When an individual showing this condition comes to your door, do not engage. Wait for a scheduled FEMA patrol and report the suspect to the relevant authorities. Remember, stay where you are and await further instructions. That's the latest for now. Except a special report on a dangerous new cult. Visitors aren't just hiding among us, they may be infiltrating our very thoughts. Multiple cities are now reporting outbreaks of organized cult activity. Charges against them include ritual sacrifice, worship of unknown deity, and possible ties to visitors themselves. According to these new reports, the cult has taken a public stand against FEMA. What began as harmless evangelizing has now escalated into direct action. Some experts believe that the cult may even be responsible for the recent violent incidences in the city. Viewers are urged to avoid contact with these so-called new believers. Aiding or sympathizing with any cultist may result in arrest or criminal charges. It's the latest for now, stay tuned. Damn, they don't know that I had them in my house.
Are they
There's a
currently in the
firefighter.
house? You just talked to the
I think they're here.
priest man.
Why haven't you gone home? I've got kids at home, you know. I don't want them to be afraid of me. I don't want them to remember me like this. Let them think I died out in the
No.
forest while putting out fires. I feel bad for that guy.
Same.
Oh, the cultists are here!
Oh, they're in the basement?
No, they're in this room. Who are you? All
Oh.
souls, just like the countless others who walk this blighted earth, we yearn for peace, for stillness eternal, and we have found the path to her, death. Why do they tremble before her? Is it truly the unknown they fear, or the lashings of dogma burn into their souls? For millennia, we clawed at the veil, seeking life's meaning, and lo, its amber was laughably simple. Death was our purpose, and we are her followers. Look scared, are you afraid? You're observant homeowner. Unlike my brothers in faith, I still struggle with fear. Doubt torments me. What lies beyond life? What does it feel like? Our mentor teaches us it's neither heaven nor hell. That's something else, but I can't seem to grasp it. Even he doesn't fully understand death. Will we ever truly understand her? What if reaching her isn't enough? What if she is truly beyond comprehension entirely? But I dare not question our mentor's will, for in his eyes I see confidence and understanding. He asks us to embrace faith and still our resolve to be ready. Only then can we cross the rivers of dead and the mountains of bones and reach her, death. How long will you be saying? Worry not, homeowner, we won't be any trouble. We appreciate your hospitality and don't wish to anger you. You've done so much for us already. We'll stay in this room and pray quietly. We need some rest. Our journey ahead will be long and hard. You know what? At least they're like staying in that room and like chilling.
Just don't kill anyone, homie.
Oh, I'm feeding the cat.
Like, puts hand on their shoulder. Just don't kill anyone, okay?
Why do you look so thrilled? Val points your finger at the smile, then at him. Moving one hand along his other arm. What does that even mean? God, he looks so goofy. What are those papers? You would not believe what's in these files. Seriously, some of it's actually pretty darn fascinating. Like, take out this one for instance. This theory is especially curious. It claims visitors aren't actually real. They're part of a secret government plan to prune the population. Quite a compelling read, and all that kind of makes sense if you really think about it. Not consider overpopulation as a known problem. Yes, it's simply the truth of our society. Suppose this is how the government has decided to handle it. This man's locked in. Take a photo of him? You want me to aura check him? Okay. By all means, just be aware testing me could lead you learn things you wish you hadn't. We're gonna take a photo of you. Dad, what are we thinking about his aura?
He's looking a bit sad. All that blue there, but I guess he's okay.
Photos can't be trusted. It can be altered, manipulated, erased. But this moment cannot be tampered with. You know, I trust the weird psycho dude. I gotta figure out who I'm gonna give them tonight.
You have odd tickets. You could give it to somebody specifically. You could give it to one of the death cultists.
No, because then that guy threatened me. I don't want to risk it.
He said if any of them died. So.
Fine, I'll take it. I'm gonna give it to the firefighter.
I feel bad, no.
Well, I can't. Well, like, what else am I
Doesn't
gonna?
he take 2 though?
No.
Yeah, they're gonna take. They took 2 last time.
Okay, well, we have a chance. We also have the mouth guy.
Not mouth guy.
So
Bro, we gotta make
essentially-
sacrifices.
So there is a 40% chance this goes to plan.
My ears look normal. Alright. Let me see if calling my neighbor will even do anything, if anyone's gonna answer. I doubt they will. My firefighter might be served with them anyway, but I believe he's definitely human. Yeah. Especially because the firefighter's gonna die soon, like...
Yeah, true.
Probably stumble on them by chance. You hear snipes of shouting and a crazy voice yelling. They'll survive in this new world, not those guys. Oh man, that dude found them. One of them is drawing something down on a tablet. Can a handful of people solve a horde of starving animals? Unlikely. Looks like they finally got around to the main attraction of the area. They look like clueless detectives. Must be wondering how he got up there without a ladder. Greetings, my boy. Did you forget about me? Didn't notice the hints tucked away in the Book of Smiles? I'm just wasting precious time with you youngins. Kids these days. What? Dude, I ate the mushroom. What do you want? Hello. I'm in a bad fucking mood, so I apologize in advance. There are so many jackasses out here. I hope you're not one of them. Dude, you already came up to me, like, not in the best way. I don't like your attitude. No. Everyone really, all them fuckers who were only kept in check by fake whatever utter bullshit stopped them from killing each other. After their gods died, there was nothing human left. Now they're just fucking animals. As if all the shit with the visitors wasn't enough, now we have to deal with them too. Fuck. What's got you so wound up? Don't take it personally, it's just all this shit with the sun and now the fucking visitors. It feels like humanity's right there in the casket next to God. And I'm angry. I just want to lead a normal fucking life, you know? I wrote music, no one has any use for that shit anymore. Now I'm just trying not to become part of either camp. Nah, I don't trust him.
No, worse than a visitor. He's a centrist.
I just don't like his... Dude, no. You can't... Why are you trying to bribe me? No. Eat it. Yeah, you're just as fucked up as the rest of those piss baby carrots. Bro, I'm not gonna let you in when you're being like this. You'll just sit there and take it when they bash your face in. Fuck my ass, bro. Get out of here. Oh god, not you again. You feel that? Change is haunting you. So am I. And now one of your ilk is deathless. All because of a word. One single word. But what a word it is. You know who I mean, yes? Strange things happen around you. I don't feel anything. Must be tough. Sounds like you need help. Why don't we try something new? A gamble of sorts. If there are at least 2 of us inside your house, you'll open the door for me. Because dogs reside in their bodies now. I don't understand. It's simple. Let's give it a try. But first, you alone? I'm not alone. Well, well. Even we are a rare sight now, let alone your kind locked in their walls. Change isn't the worst thing coming for you. You don't think I lead the pack, do you? There are far greater things out there. I simply follow orders. Well then, can we meet again? Fucking weird dude. Near there, yes?
Yeah, if you did let the weird guy in, then it would have bumped up the chances of not one of the cultists getting taken.
The feeling is worse now, strange. Is it because of all this destruction? Do you need some help? I've already got all the help I need, I just feel weaker. My sight can't reach as far as it did before. Probably not you or her. It happened once before at the very beginning. Everything will be fine. Newly grown stalks will break through the ash and reach for the sky. I never understand what you're saying. Goodness, I do not wish to scare you, simply thinking aloud. Before I came to you, everything felt so clear, now it's like fog. You have a basement, yes? Something's there beneath the soil, though I can't quite see what. Why do I need it? Goodness, I can't think clearly. Though in the soil, I see one more thing. Don't jump, not yet. I should rest.
Is this man saying that the mushroom's a good thing and the other guy saying the mushrooms are a bad thing?
Who is this person? Help me, I've been shot, not gonna last long. What happened? I broke out of one of them. They came knocking during a sweep and grabbed me right off my doorstep. They were already scanning me the second I cracked open the door. Next thing I know, they're scribbling shit into their tablets telling me I gotta come with them. I told them to fuck off, so they cuffed me like some criminal. I got away eventually, though. Tell me about the FEMA quarantine zones. Picture an empty parking lot, fence off, a couple tents scattered around, then fill the empty space with big-ass shipping containers they shove people into every morning like cattle. Picture FEMA quarantine zone. Security is a goddamn joke. They didn't even need a plan, I just waited for the right moment and climbed the fence. They're busy in there, you can tell they're preparing for something. Well, I guess the moment I chose wasn't totally right. One of those pigs turned and saw me, then he started shooting. I dropped straight off the fence into a puddle, then fucking legged it. I don't trust him. Like, yeah, he's wounded. Am I being too paranoid?
Maybe.
Yes.
Mm. You kind of are? Fine, I'll let him in. But if someone dies... I can't. Listen, man, I've run into folks like that before. You got one right here in your place, that cultist. Sits quiet, minds their business, and they'll throw you under the fucking bus without blinking. I'm telling you, folks like that'll sell you on the heartbeat. Well, okay, so it's either... Okay, he's gotta leave. Are you fucking serious right now? What, scared FEMA's gonna come looking for me? Dude, you said you wouldn't come in because I have the cultist. That's your fault. Fine, hide behind your little door, see where I get you. Have a nice fucking night, asshole. Bro, I gave you the option, and you did that. Huh?
No, you got those guys in here. You can't do... I can't do that. No. Huh. I see. Did he kill one? Is that what that is?
Can I come in and rest a minute? Where'd you come from? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. I'm just so very tired. If I don't get some rest, I might just pass out under your window there. Is your friend sick? He's my husband. He's dead. Oh! I can't give him a proper burial. There's no point in letting him go now. You know what? I trust her. I won't be staying long. I just need to rest a bit. I'll let her in. You need to take in death cultists. Ooh, listen, I thought things would work out. I was asked to take in death cultists. I took them in. Good afternoon. Now for the news. The situation in the city is gradually stabilizing, but some fugitives still remain at large. Corpse disposal operations have resumed. New challenges have emerged. According to the latest reports, packs of stray dogs are now roaming the streets. FEMA has deployed a team to address the threat. The agency has also announced a new identifying sign of potentially dangerous individuals' skin irritation. The investigation into the attack is still ongoing. Whether the attacker acted alone still remains unclear. However, there is no doubt that FEMA will contain both this and the ongoing visitor threat. As always, stay where you are and wait for their instructions. That's the latest for now. Up next, a report on the unfolding situation in the Equatorial Belt. Yeah, a visitor wouldn't just carry a corpse around. Probably news from countries in the Equatorial region tonight. Widespread wildfires, extreme heat, and droughts are devastating multiple nations. Recent reports indicate temperatures so high that contact with the ground was enough to cause third-degree burns. Death toll remains unknown and evacuation is currently impossible. Our government has so far been unable to establish communication with authorities in affected regions. Once conditions allow, FEMA officers will be deployed to assist for disaster relief. That's the latest for now. Stay tuned for updates. I'll check the basement. Do we have any more mushrooms I can eat? What the fuck? Dig? Can I keep digging? I can't.
Interesting. Now you have dirt under your nails. Oh no.
Someone drive you home. Are you leaving somewhere? I'm gonna feed the cat.
Wait.
I was calling for a rest, see if I can get more cat food.
Can the cat be a visitor?
No.
That would be actually insane. Okay, let's sleep.
Our firefighter man.
Bench shells are scattered in your bodies. The hunter must have killed them and took trophies. So he killed all those people over there.
I'm very sad.
Cultists pile firewood into a huge heap. Are they planning to burn something? Their mad plan will likely reveal itself soon. How many innocent lives will be lost to their cause? On the road stands a crazed man. He holds a gas can and a Molotov cocktail. Is he planning to burn down the whole village? Does he not know these people are in quarantine? Need more people. Where are the people you took? Cut the bullshit, the world's about to end. Keep playing games will take everyone in this house. What's it gonna take to fix all this? 2 more people. We're not taking everyone you have in there, just 2. We either find a way to eradicate the visitors or we never meet again. Fine. Feeling is mutual. He took the firefighter and the widow, bro. That's all I have a nice night. Let's not waste time. How fair my flock. Still alive. Thank you for all you've done. I'm sure you are tired too of all the noise, depressive times, the confusion. Death spoke to me long ago. She hopes to meet you when the time comes. May I offer you a place to hide from everything, even from the end itself. I'm not sure myself what that means yet, but it does sound tempting, yes? Sure? Oh god, he's back. Try to find out someone I mentioned, no luck. I went through a few houses, this place is crawling with visitors. Did FEMA give up on this town, or just this block? How do you spot a visitor? Hell, same way you do, I bet. Even radio spell it out for us. One sign's enough to put them down, I don't hesitate for a second. Come here, tell me, do you know a stocky guy who wears a blue denim jacket? He's got a kid, little girl, not sure how old. His wife? Well, fuck the wife. Only the girl made it out, your guy's dead. Tell me you're not one of them, any part of you will do. You got a gun? Fuck if I care, we'll both go down shooting then. I'll show him my ears. Ears? Fuck you mean ears? That's no goddamn visitor sign. What? Dude! Dude! That's literally on the TV! You hear a madman behind the door spitting furious words of raw aggression. You can only wait, hoping nothing will happen. The haze of rage in the eyes of an armed man is more terrifying than any visitor. You hear his shallow wheezing. Bastard. He got me. How many more has he slaughtered? How many has he burned? Thought he'd drag it out since I didn't go down easy. What about the others? He's gone quiet. You should probably check he's actually... Because of scum like you, so many are dead. People like you killed my friend. people like you will never let anybody live in peace. Well, you think no one will fight back? These minds damned by insanity. And now I've lost everything but you. You still have something left to lose. I'll drive you deep into the ground. I'll drown everything. Wait, am I just going on a murder spree?
Oh no.
Every bastard with a weapon in their hands dies today. What? Hello? Oh, where's the music in the beginning? Oh wait, my headset died. That's why.
Dog.
Well, that was something. At least-
Yes, truly.
I didn't know how long the game was gonna go. It's already 9 my end, so. Yeah, you go insane and kill everyone who's armed. Well, I'm guessing there's more endings though, right?
Plenty.
There's 20?
Plenty.
Oh, I thought you said there's 20. I was like, damn.
Nope.
Damn. Be insane.
That was fun though. I'll have to play again, chat. Oh, I'm trying to... One ending is telling pay visitor alone he just killed you. That's insane. Let me find someone for me to raid, because I have a list.
God, you are so massive.
Yeah?
Yep.
Big.
Okay, let me find someone to raid. Sorry, I was having way more fun wiggling my model around. Yeah! And then
Yeah.
Hold on, I can make it even stupider. Hold on.
You're wiggling it.
Hold on, I can make it stupider. Hold on. You got games on your phone?
Lol.
Sure do.
You got games on your phone? Let me in.
Egg when
let
they
me
get there
in.
to get 100 nuggets.
Dude, this is why I can't have a 3D model of Cryptic, because I'd just be doing dumb shit like this the entire time. Let me in.
Sure. Come in, egg.
Do I look like a look in my eyes? Do I look like a visitor to you?
You're right. They're not red. They're purple.
He said he didn't want pickles on his burger. You open your door and you just see this looking at you. What do?
Pick them up.
And it's this close to the fucking to the people.
Just open the door and let you in. Done.
I'm breaking the door open on myself.
Huh?
Babe,
Yeah.
you need to pay for that door.
Let me in. Let me in. Oh, I gotta.
Listen, I simply need a piece at any cost.
I'm trying to grab
Just
my.
open the door.
Open in your.
I get the boo-boo
Open in
forklift
your.
ready.
Open in
Take
your.
the potato.
Open in your.
I open in your.
Open in your.
It is open.
Let me in. Got games on your
Oh,
phone?
sorry. I need to open the outside door. Sorry. I'm getting head pats, egg.
Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. Okay. Let me in. Sorry, I'm going goblin mode right now.
You are indeed going very
You
goblin.
know what I want to gobble?
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
I want this to be my POV.
Hoppa. Hoppa. Ah.
Hey, Egg, who are we rating? Did you figure someone out yet?
I have a list.
Okay.
I just got distracted.
Very
my
I
Myself.
want to do things to the lizard.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you mean? What do you mean you've been in the house for like 20 minutes? You've been staring at the wall. Let me in. Let me in.
Yeah,
Let me in.
Hex is so right.
Let me in.
Little axolotl, that's a wall.
Let me in. You're
Throws a blanket on
Your
Egg.
cotton candy wall tastes funny.
Do not eat the asbestos.
Throws a blanket on Egg. Please be quiet.
Let me in.
Worth every penny.
Are you? You feel like you asked for $70?
What?
Let me in.
Yes, exactly, Hex. That is what's happening.
You got games on your phone?
Get games on your phone.
You got games on your phone? What do you mean? Seems like a visitor to us. Do you think a visitor could replicate this kind of gremlin goblin energy? The visitors would be afraid of me because I'd be trying to fuck them. Whoop.
Call me a visitor.
Look at my fins. Look, they wiggle.
So cute.
Oh, I might on. Fuck. If I didn't have to work, I would go into desktop VR chat as this model for the hell of it.
It does take a little bit of time to set that up. You would need like at least an hour.
Yeah.
Massive pain in the ass to make it work.
Let me in.
If you are cold, they're cold. Bring them in your house.
I mean, these are cold-blooded, so we do get cold very easily. Let me in your house!
I gave you a blanket. You're already in the house.
Simply rob a
Silly
bank
little
and never work
axolotl.
again! I will get caught. Do I look smart enough to not get caught? No, I'm very stupid. You're not taking my heat lamp. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my dad. Egg wouldn't want. I see. I can't get caught. If I get caught, how am I gonna VTube? Okay, that's how you know I'm not gonna commit a crime, even though I joke about it. Because bro, I can't VTube in jail. Like, how am I supposed to harass you guys on the internet if I'm in jail?
Carrier pigeon.
That's not the internet, though, bro.
The first ever VTuber streaming their own execution. No, there was a VTuber who like was rebranding and they literally executed their old model on stream.
That's crazy.
Honestly, good for them.
How very symbolic.
I'm staring into your. I'm staring into. Stares at you. Stares at you. I can't wait for someone to like check the last few minutes of the stream and they just see this. Let me in your house.
I've
Okay,
told
we're gonna
you 10
raid- we're
times
gonna
already.
raid-
You're
We're gonna raid Hisaya
Goblet.
Rosier. Hisaya's cool. Hisaya actually got a new model since last time I showed you guys them. They got a fucking like really cute. So they rebranded to a like plushy dog, and I love their model so much. I love this new model so much. I think it's very like just lovely. I love it very much. Okay, I'll let you guys go now. Go say hi. Be good. They're playing Hollow Knight.
On a